Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Happy Redemption Thursday. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming. Free, always. Don't miss anything. Hey, we lead busy lives. Sometimes we miss things, and when that happens, you need to know how to catch up. Well, we post the program upon its conclusion all 3 hours every day to iTunes and our own audio vault. You can email the show if you like as well. JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at JCameronShow. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices as well. And on YouTube, it's ESPN Tallahassee. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you're well. I'm waving to you currently. Also, the Periscope is up and running on Twitter there at 979 ESPN Radio if you want to go there as well. So we're all caught up. Redemption Thursday wagers. Let's get to it. We got ball games. Come on. Bring it on. Director Matthew, was I 4-6 last week or 5-5? 5-5 it is.
Yeah, it's a shaky look there.
I think it was 5-5.
Yeah.
Wasn't good.
It's been, what is that, a 3-week run now?
About two.
Two
bad weeks.
2 bad weeks?
In a row.
Okay.
Very bad. I'm on it's the damnedest thing having to pick 10 games in a week where last week Big Daddy J didn't even come to the table in his real life except for 2 games. 2 games.
But that's the definition of Big Daddy J not making it to the table.
Right, it's just 2 games.
I mean,
No, Big Daddy this weekend is in play for a lot of games. A lot of games going on, Tom. You got Major League Baseball, the start of hockey, the NHL last night. How about the Bruins getting told, here's a little 7-0 for that ass. Woo, woo. The defending champs were having none of it. That's just not being ready to play, Tom.
Ovi looks like he cares a little bit still.
What's going on? He's on some things.
Fundamentally changing the discussion about who he is.
Yes, he is, man. Anyhow, so that has started back up, On Saturday night, after I go to the football game against the University of Miami, sir, I'm headed to a hockey bar in Miami to watch the Lightning and the Panthers.
Is that so?
That is so.
That's incredible.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun, right? I'll have my Lightning gear, buddy.
Well, that's a hell of a thing, dude.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
I don't go down there to screw around, man. Good times. We're going to do it upright. And the best part about that is many of the games the Big Daddy is fielding this week will be on. And then, there's a lot going on these days, buddy, if you're a sporting guy or gal. Hot damn, Big Daddy's done it again. Woo! Red Russians. Let's get it going. Let's get it cracking. Utah State plus 2.5 against BYU. Does that sound like a game I'm betting in my personal life? It is indeed. Bet it.
He starts out, no more veil. It's not buried in pick 7.
No,
you just come out with it.
I'm taking Utah State plus 2.5 against BYU. Georgia Tech minus 4.5 against Louisville, Tom. I want your thoughts on this pick. I took Georgia Tech and gave the 4.5 to Louisville at Louisville. In my real life.
That's a devastating loss to Louisville last week.
They've got problems, and they were trying to get out from underneath those problems with the win last week, but they let it slip away with stupidity, and I think that further devastates them. But the other thing I would add to that is one of the problems with Georgia Tech, no matter what their record is, and they could be no good, and still this is a problem that they present. And we found this out the year that we lost to them for their only ACC victory that season. I'm still watching Mr. Aguayo attempt to make a tackle there as he just runs alongside that gentleman into the end zone.
He's just going for a jog.
That's
here
we are. I'm going to run alongside you. Go ahead. Oh, you scored. Look at that.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. So, having said all of that, you have to want to tackle them. They run an offense that is really frustrating. They run an offense that you have to care to stop, if you know what I mean. You can't go through the motions. You have to make your reads. You have to understand your responsibilities. You have to follow up on your job. And a lot of that involves sacrifice so that other guys make plays. I don't know how much they want to do that. I mean, how much do they want to do that, right?
Well, and if the quarterback keeps missing wide open people this week against Georgia Tech, at what point do you make a change? Because
they've tried that already.
We were preparing for 2 quarterbacks last week.
Yeah, they've tried it already. I don't. Nah, they're mailing that thing in. They're mailing that thing in.
I like the hunch.
It's the hunch. They're mailing it in. I took Texas +8. I know you don't just trust Texas anymore. They burned you early this year against Maryland yet again, but I have been bouncing back with Texas. TCU pick.
Well, they played Baker and Oklahoma quite well last year. The defense did show up in this game. It seems like Tom Herman and his staff have something for Oklahoma. It's just, it feels like it's a sure thing. That's why I stay away from it. Not a victory, but a cover.
Big Daddy in his real life not playing that game. For the purposes of redemption.
Oh,
Thursday,
really? Oh, okay.
Texas +8.
I thought you were actually playing that game.
I thought about it. I wrestled with it. It did seem too easy.
It does.
You and I think alike. I went, that's easy money. Must not be easy money. Run. Well, that's like any time you look at a game in the NFL and you're, why in the world are the Jets favored over New England? They're not. I'm just saying, and they don't play this week. But when you see something that's too good to be true or too weird, it is.
There was one last week that was too weird, and I stayed off it, but it was correct. And that was Purdue was just a 2.5-point favorite over Nebraska. And I don't know how that is to this day. How is that possible?
I'm going to tell you how it's possible because I thought about that game. Scott Frost, earlier in the week, leading up to the Purdue game, said after admitting that he challenged his team's toughness and everything else in that locker room, that this was a game he thought they'd show up and have a good chance to win. I'm telling you, that influenced the betting public. It influenced Vegas. I think they thought that Scott had flipped the locker room and that they were going to give this Herculean effort against, admittedly, we're talking about a Purdue team that already has 3 losses. So,
yeah, but
they're the best 3-loss team in America. I like Purdue. I mean, I do. They really should be, by all accounts, have 1 loss. Those 3 losses were by a combined 7 points. I mean, that's devastating.
I stayed off of that one, and
But I'm telling you, that's how that happened, is I think that he came out and spoke about the opponent specifically, and he carries enough weight. He's flipped programs before, and so people are like, well, he kind of knows what he's doing. But then they get their ass kicked, and they're 0-4. And it's funny because we're constantly involved in the conversation right here in our own backyard with Willie, and we're going to hear from Willie in a second. But, every week that goes by, the coaches, the alleged coaches that are on the alleged hot seat, right? They're not alleged coaches. They are coaches, but they're not on the hot seat because they're all in year 1. And it's ridiculous. But every week when Chip Kelly loses again and when Scott Frost loses again and when we look bad even in victory, somehow those 3 guys, they all get named every time as, well, I don't know. Stop it. None of those guys are going anywhere. Scott Frost could go over. Chip Kelly probably will. None of them are going anywhere. You just don't do it that way. It's not the way it works. And good luck getting another coach to come to your place when you fire somebody after a year. It's just not going to happen. So don't just stop it. And it's not necessarily something that portends of the kind of success they will or will not have in year 3, 4, 5, or 6. Because we've watched Hall of Fame coaches get off to horrendous starts.
7-6 for Alabama when Nick Saban got there.
Lost like 5 of their last 6 games.
Lost to Louisiana Monroe.
At home, yeah. Yes. Yeah, not good.
The problem here, and it keeps coming back to this, is how talented do you believe we actually are? Now that you've had time to see it, how talented do you believe we actually are?
Well, I think there is talent to build around at the skill positions, but, none of that matters if you can't block. And I will say it until I'm blue in the face. We can't block. Now, we did better. It's so funny. The standard that we now are willing to call, as a great effort is one in which in a game against a terrible defensive squad, you don't give up a sack. Never mind the fact that we spent a couple of quarters doing all of nothing. The fact that they didn't get the kid killed means we come in on a Monday and go, woo, that offensive line. What a Herculean effort. No, it's just the bar is so low. We don't move people.
Yeah, Louisville lost 24-3 to Virginia.
They're terrible.
This isn't Lamar Jackson's Louisville from 2016.
All right, so anyhow, Ball State +3 versus Northern Illinois. I couldn't say that with a straight face. I like Ball State here.
Another one, huh? You don't say.
When I said it, I like, man, nobody's going to mistake that as anything other.
Okay. Ball State, Illinois. Or Northern Illinois, excuse me.
I like that Ball State defense. They're getting 3 at home. Clemson's given 19 to Wake. This is a Tom Lang special.
Oh.
If we miss this, it's on T. Lizzie. I went with it because of his conviction. That's a true story.
My conviction is there's a lot of embarrassment around the Clemson program after last weekend's showing. The Kelly Bryant thing, and hovers over them. I thought they were going to show improve against Syracuse. Wrong. But Wake Forest gave up a ton of yards, a ton of points to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame completed 80% of its passes within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. Clemson can at least do that, can't they?
It's the kind of information that we in the business take and use to our benefit. It's the Tom Lang breakdown of the Clemson program in a way that was compelling. And I said, drop all 19 of these points on Wake Forest's ass. Notre Dame minus 5.5 against Virginia Tech. Aforementioned Notre Dame. Tech with a nice bounce back. It was pretty impressive. I thought, man, you talk about crestfallen after Old Dominion. They bounced back nicely, but they won't here. Give me Notre Dame and give the 5.5.
The biggest place to look as Notre Dame's offense is on the field is at right guard. Their star guard is not available, and so does Bud Foster key on that and try to confuse the interior of Notre Dame's offensive line.
Arizona State plus 2.5 against Colorado. This is more about I don't believe in Colorado as opposed to believe in Arizona State. Colorado beat Nebraska, hasn't won a game. Colorado beat UCLA, hasn't won a game. Colorado beat Colorado State, has won one game. Colorado has no win of any significance to speak of, so I am going to go with Arizona State getting points here.
It's good logic.
All right, Mississippi State's getting 4 against Auburn. I think there's going to be a quarterback change for Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State plays good defense and wins the game outright. They're getting 4. I got them here.
You think there's going to be a quarterback change?
That's what I'm hearing. Quarterback change.
Okay,
That's
this is another deep dive.
I'm going with Mississippi State plus 4. And then finally, unfortunately, give me the Canes and drop 13.5 on our Knowles. Part of this is a little bit, trying to curse myself. I don't normally, because I am betting this in my real life, I put real money on Miami to beat us and gave 13.5.
There goes your Knoll card. You're not allowed to do that,
I
sir.
don't ordinarily include Florida State in my wagers. I don't do it. Unless we're being disrespected, Tom, and we get some asinine number or we're given some minuscule number against a team that we know cannot compete. I have done it in the past. I did take us against Louisville, but I took us against Northern Illinois as well, and 1-1 in the number.
Really? I didn't realize you took us last weekend.
Mm-hmm. Oh. I thought we might win by a couple touchdowns.
I did the UNI. I stayed the hell away from last weekend.
I didn't think Louisville would really be all that competitive. I don't think they're any good. That's why, in a weird way, it was disappointing. I was really happy we won the game in dramatic fashion, and I'll take a road win in the ACC, and all that stuff is true, so I wasn't bitterly disappointed and all that. But I thought, man, that Louisville team is terrible.
2 bounces set the tone for that game. The
Yeah,
fumble
the
right
helmet,
back into
yeah.
Well, no, the fumble right back to
right
the
at the
quarterback's
beginning,
hands, and then the 1-yard line. Then it's 7-0, and here we go.
Yeah.
You're in trouble.
And I did take so I took Miami and gave 13.5, and then finally tonight's game, I took New England and gave the 10.5 to the Colts. The Colts, who were improving, unfortunately take a step back, got injury-riddled last week. You don't want to be injury-riddled with a New England team that I think is starting to feel it a little.
Well, they're having both Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski play for the first time together since November of 2016.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so Brady's got his weapons, plus Josh Gordon.
Yeah, well, and I took New England tonight, and I don't like giving 10-plus points in an NFL football game, but I'm doing it tonight.
Well, and also when New England is behind the 8 ball.
And they get angry.
Right, that's when they win 7 straight.
Took them last week against Miami. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that seemed right? That had the makings of an ass beating.
It's either the era is over this weekend.
Or it's decidedly not.
Or here we go again.
Yeah. Well, and with what they did to Miami last week, I went, here we are. There we go. That's just so Dolphins-like, and that is very New England-like. And that's Belichick going, nope, back it down into your hole. Back down into your hole.
We're still behind you in the division, but you know where you are.
You know where you sit, and it ain't above us. Maybe on print there, yeah, sure.
We're 2-3, but we're in first place.
We're in first place.
Okay.
You know it, and I know it. And if you don't believe it, here's a resounding we're in first place. Here's 38-7. Get you some of that right there.
For that ass.
For that ass, indeed. And he just sat over there calm, like, I knew this was going to happen. This was always going to happen.
It's completely predictable.
It is, though.
What happened today is.
It is, though, and that's hurtful. I mean, it's helpful.
It's like 3 losses for a Dolphins fan. You know, 24-23 is one thing. But the way it went.
Oh, No, you weren't competitive.
We suck again, and yet you only have one loss in the season.
Well, you had a chance to really set them back in a way that would be, no matter how good they are or are not, by season's end, it might have been an obstacle too much to overcome. I mean, if they go to 1-4 or whatever, and you're 4-0 with the win against them in New England,
yeah, we're in business now.
Yeah, you're cooking with gas. You got a chance now. I mean, even if you have a little mini swoon, you could hold it off. But nope, wasn't to be. Well, I feel like the whole state just got a running kick to the you-know-whats. I mean, it was the Bucks giving up 4,000 yards to Mitchell Trubisky. Good Lord. And a half. And it was just before that, it was Jacksonville losing to the Titans again. Is that 6 of the last 7 times they've lost to them?
Yeah.
I know that wasn't last week. It was the week before, but that's what I'm saying. I mean.
Yeah, and then the Dolphins were reminded about who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so thankful that we came back and won that game, or else last weekend would have been one of the worst comprehensive sports weekends ever.
Well, I think, though, for you, that was devastating because you were all in on Ryder Cup action. Stat I learned last night doing the golf show with the great Trey Jones of Florida State University.
The great
He
Trey
is great.
Jones.
He's awesome. I learned something from that guy all the time. And we were talking, and he goes, man, and he listens to the show. When he gets a chance on his way home from practice, he'll tune in for about 20 to 30 minutes. And he was listening to you and I talk about Ryder Cup stuff, and he said, you guys are all over, Phil, and understandably so, and you noted that Tiger looked tired, and I think that's true. He's like, but you guys gave Ricky Fowler a pass. And I said, I didn't think about it. He goes, yeah, he's played in 15 matches in his Ryder Cup career. And I said, right. And he goes, you know how many he's won? I said, no. He goes, 3.
I don't ever acknowledge Ricky Fowler's existence, though, in my defense. I mean, do I really ever? I don't like him, and it's to the point where I'd rather ignore him.
But it is, I mean, he's right to point out. I mean, dude has won 3 times in 15 matches.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's some draws in there, but I mean.
But 3 wins.
3.
Molinari had 5 wins last weekend.
Yes, and no draws and no losses.
Tommy Fleetwood has more wins in 2 days of Ryder Cup play than Ricky Fowler has in 15 matches.
That is correct. And don't even compare him to Sergio, who wins 3 every time he goes out there, bare minimum, even in the middle of a crap year.
Yeah, if we can just roll him out there against Phil every time.
That dude will be 57 years old out there scoring 4 points for the Euros. It's ridiculous.
You cannot make a putt.
And that guy's never been a great putter. He's never been a great putter.
That's every 2 years.
Oh, man. Then he is.
Oh, Dustin, a 5-footer. Is that for a half or a win?
Dustin will make a 35-footer, though. I mean, that was crazy about the Ryder Cup. He must have made hundreds of yards worth of putts and then just missed a bunch of little short ones.
Did you get any stories about the fight that you can share off the air?
No, because Brooks has now come out and categorically denied that there was ever a fight, and he said he doesn't know where that comes from, and he was disappointed to read it. Not only did he deny it, I'll give him credit. If you're gonna speak to a story or to a rumored event and you're gonna deny it, go read the way that he did it. It's emphatic. It is, this didn't happen. We're fine. I'll show you the texts. We're good. We're laughing at the story. We don't know where this came from. We certainly didn't get in a fight on the flight over. We were dead asleep. He said the whole team was asleep. We were exhausted flying over. Nobody got into a fight. And he goes, I don't know what this event is that they're talking about. I mean, nothing.
Okay, so is there anything off the air that may be of interest? I hear what he's saying.
Yeah, no, but
circling the wagons, huh?
I don't think there was a fight. There may be problems, but I don't think there was a fight. You're not buying it. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I can taste the freedom just inside the door.
When the Knowles are on the road, 97.9 ESPN Radio has you covered. Your ESPN Tallahassee Watch Party headquarters is Hobbit American Grill on West Pensacola.
Intercepted. Levante Taylor. He's gonna take it the distance.
Giveaways, contests, food and drink specials, and more. Sports Monster watch parties. All this year at Hobbit American Grill on West Pensacola. When the Knowles hit the road, head to Hobbit with us.
Looking for a new place to watch your favorite sporting events? Hobbit American Grill with 3 locations to choose from. Just show them your stub. That's right, your ticket stub from any local sporting event for $1 pints and $3 crafts. BOGO Mondays every Monday with 50% off specials. Like or follow on Facebook to get all the details. PS4 tourneys, trivia, karaoke, darts, and more. Lots of daily lunch specials under $8. Happy hour specials daily and happy hour all day on Friday. The Hobbit American Grill.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Roofing is rewarding, but it's not exactly a bed of roses. It's a very dirty job, subject to the environment, working on 98-degree summer days, dodging rainstorms, working on steep slopes like a mountain goat. At Parker Brothers, our skilled workers have chosen this challenging trade as their career choice. These are the people that you want working on your roof. We've been servicing the community since 1995. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
CGC 042221, CCC 049350.
Come into Lowe's to save on everything you need to get your home ready for holiday visitors. Give your guest bath or your master bath a stylish new look with up to 40% off select vanities. Plus, take advantage of our in-store clearance event and save on all kinds of products and supplies to help you tackle your to-do list, inside or out. Stop by your local Lowe's to learn more. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Vanity offer valid through 10/10. Exclusions apply while supplies last. U.S. only. Clearance pricing and selection vary. See store for details.
The hardest working man in comedy is back. Kevin Hart. It's the Irresponsible Tour.
I caught my dad giving my kids raw candy out of his pocket. Candy with no wrapper. It was loose. It was just in his pocket. He said,
The box office smash comedian, Kevin Hart.
Where the lines at on that peppermint?
Kevin Hart.
5 minutes go by, I saw my dad take that peppermint out of his mouth, put it back in his pocket. Those were half-sucked on peppermints.
Friday, October 12th in Tucker Civic Center. Get tickets at the box office and online at tuckerciviccenter.com. Don't miss Kevin Hart.
It's Golick and Wingo.
They lose Earl Thomas to a fractured lower leg. Earl Thomas had been involved in a holdout for much of the offseason, had come back begrudgingly, was kind of fighting tooth and nail with management.
Wasn't practicing.
And now likely plays his last snap as a Seahawk and send him into free agency in the exact position he was trying to avoid.
This one has the added extra when he was on the cart getting carted off. He flipped the bird off. We can't sit there and say where it went.
We need a direct quote from Earl to figure that out.
Yeah, it's exactly. But it's certainly like it was directed toward the Seattle Seahawks sideline. Well, we know there's animosity. He has basically said that. He said, they don't have my back. I'm not practicing if I don't feel like I'm 100%, and I only believe in me. They don't. So that may have been the farewell message for Earl Thomas to the Seattle Seahawks.
The only good news here for Earl, you'd much rather break a bone than tear a ligament.
Yep.
That's less of a concern about a broken
I'd
bone.
rather have that break than have blown out my ACL.
Correct, or Achilles or something.
Golick and Wingo, weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
For Braves country,
it is party time in Atlanta.
For our fans,
and this stadium is upside down.
For each other.
He has done it again. There is a mob scene out at second.
Tonight, it's Game 1 of the National League Division Series as the Braves hit the field in Los Angeles for a huge battle with the Dodgers, live from Dodger Stadium in L.A.
On your home for the Braves, 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee's sports monster. The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
The social agreement. Yeah, you and a buddy splitting one order of wings, 2 Madison Social burgers, 2 bourbons, and 2 proof Matzo ales. Yeah. All for just 40 bones. You don't have to worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck, surrounding lots. It's all free. Talking about Thursdays in College Town, Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas as well all day today. Township, $2 tacos. That's what you do. So it's fit for all ages, folks. Parking is solved, as I said. It's free parking. Great food and service. Visit ThursdaysInCollegetown.com for more information. That's how that works.
It reminds me, I'm having some fajitas tonight. Looking forward to it.
Oh, that's what you do right there. I think that tonight, the day before I head out on the road to Miami, is a night to have a margarita and some fish tacos.
Oh, really?
That's what I think.
Okay.
I think that's how that's going to go down. That's what today is, the Cameron household. Little Redemption Thursday mahi tacos with some cabbage and put some peppers in there and get after it.
Peppers. You
Peppers.
make those at home?
We do sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But not somebody has left a gift card they have for me going on 2 years now, and I haven't been able to go out and really get a very, very good.
It is 3 weeks away from my birthday, and I've yet to give you your birthday present.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's just sitting on a table.
It is. It's on my dresser.
I could purchase a margarita making machine.
No, it would not get. I mean,
but it would help out.
It would.
It is,
It would take a chunk out of it, but those things are
a
not
mighty
cheap.
chunk.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. So anyhow, maybe I'll just pick up some margaritas. Will they let me take them on the road? Be strange, right? Hey guys, you and me, just put in that cup right there. Don't worry.
I'm sure that's some copy that they'd want out there. If they did.
Well, it's like Games for Less when the new games come in at a certain time before the official launch. They're like, we may or may not have it here at the store now.
I think Super Smash Brothers is coming out soon for the new Nintendo system, the Switch.
The Switch, which is very popular. The Switches. I have not purchased the Switch. Seems to me that whenever I go and stray from the PS4 and buy any other system that ever comes out, I get screwed because they go on and move on to something else. Like, the Wii U became obsolete. Then they had the next Wii U version, which was nicer than the other Wii. I bought that one too. And they're done with that.
We have a Switch in my household. I never use it personally, unless we're playing Mario Kart.
Mario Kart's fun.
It is a lot of fun.
It's still one of the great. Wouldn't you argue that that's probably the greatest game ever made?
Well, it's up there.
Pound for pound for entertainment fun across the board, whether you're old or young.
Yeah.
Mario Kart holds its own against everybody.
Yeah, that's really hard. If you put it that way, then it probably is the greatest game. It's had some stinkers over the years.
But not many.
But the Super Nintendo one, the original one, was
awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah, they're all
N64 was fantastic. I'm not a big fan of the Wii one because you have to, turn the controller.
You can get a different controller. I did that. I got rid of that controller because I
use the control pad?
You can use a control pad.
Oh, well, that's a game changer.
It is a game changer.
The Switch one, you can use the control pad.
I'll tell you something right now. My son beats my ass every time. He knows about the secret passages.
That's the whole thing.
You got to know about the passages.
Yeah.
I think that's a signifier of age. I always knew, because I grew up in a video gaming era, that there were cheats built into the games. That there were, if you found out about that cave or you found out about that secret place under the rock or whatever,
above the clouds in Super Mario,
right, whatever it was. If you knew that, then you had, in order to win the way that you want to win consistently, you had to make sure you hit those tunnels, those secret passages. I was always aware of where they were. Now, when I race my kids, they're like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Where did you go? How did you do that?"
Can I ask a question about that? So in the 70s and the 80s, this is before the internet, you could communicate
that is correct.
readily with people. Who found out these secrets?
Kids sitting around all day long playing. My buddy Steven, whom you know, Steven and I, we played Contra one night. I remember that with the two controllers. You up, down,
you
down.
discovered
left,
it?
Right. No, somebody told us. But
okay.
But kids would sit around when new games came out and they would try to find all of these built-in things. But yeah, I remember, and they sold books. That's what you did. You had to go get the books at the video game place. And they'd have
the perfect guides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up, down, left, right.
That's the only way, because if somebody just, happened to discover it, that's ridiculous. I mean, think about how much time you'd waste just to get that one discovery.
Think about the people who discovered whippets. Who in the world was grabbing a thing of whipped cream trying to get high? I mean, that's just, people are amazing.
I know one person, and it's not the man in the mirror. And it's not the man in the mirror.
But think about that, right? Who's like,
We're desperate here. I'm out of supplies. Maybe, just maybe.
Let's bring it back to football for a moment. Our head coach, Willie Taggart, speaking about the offensive line.
Are you expecting to have Landon and Derek available Saturday?
It's a possibility. They keep coming along, getting better. Feel really good about Derek and Landon. Not sure.
Was it like did he re-aggravate something possibly?
Yeah, he re-aggravated his ankle again. But he's a tough kid and loves to play and did a good job for us. And so if there was anybody else, I'd probably say no. But when it's Landon, you can't ever count him out.
All right, so a little bit of clarification. I began the rumor mill on Monday by saying that I was hearing whispers that Landon wasn't going to play. I talked about it more on Tuesday and again yesterday. Well, I didn't say outright he wouldn't play, but I said there was a possibility he wouldn't play and that I was hearing whispers of a possible medical procedure, surgery, something that had occurred. And they're very careful, as you might expect, when it comes to a kid's medical records, as they should be. I'm not in a rush to break that story. I just wanted to know for two reasons whether or not he was going to play. A, it's our only chance. And B, I like to gamble. So those kinds of things are of interest to me, finding out whether or not, your best offensive lineman is going to play or not. So you continue to dig. And again, I don't want to necessarily reveal somebody's medical situation. But the situation is such that there was something done. To what extent, I don't know. So I'm not going to speculate on that, but something had to be done. I'm guessing some sort of deal with the draining or, that kind of stuff. When you have a problem and you re-aggravate injuries, a lot of times you're talking about swelling and pain management. Because if it were something that was requiring, a surgery where a plate or something is put in, it's over, it's clean cut, there's no discussion to be had, he's not playing, his season's over. But that's not how this discussion's going. Per Willie Taggart, this is, and there's a lot of ums in there. He's not real sure about whether or not there's a possibility Landon's going to play. He's crediting Landon for being very, very tough. That's true. But I don't know if medically he's capable of playing this weekend. But the good news would be this. Some of those whispers originally would have been of the variety that his season was over. That is not true. That I can tell you is not true. So whether he plays Saturday or not, while it's important, his season isn't over. He'll be back with us this year, it does appear. Now,
well, that didn't make the pre-production meeting, and that's wonderful news to this Noel fan.
But the problem is we kind of need him now. Like, I can live without him against Wake. I need you now. Like today.
Well, you had already chalked this up as a big-time loss. So
I had, but it doesn't mean that I didn't give us a small percentage chance to compete. Like, yeah, when you're betting, you're not saying something's 100%. You could be in the game in the second half, but your chances of being in the game in the second half are pretty much, nil if he's not playing. And you would note that. I mean, we're infinitely better at him at left tackle.
Listen, I get what Miami's defensive metrics say, but I look at their strength of schedule. I say that it might be ballooned a little bit by the teams that they
the
played.
tackles for loss, yeah.
Oh, tackles for loss.
They lead the country.
In general, rushing, all that kind of stuff. And I get our offensive line's not good, but look at who they played. I mean, it's Toledo, FIU, it's North Carolina. I mean,
no, they haven't beat anybody who's any
good.
No, I understand that. Yeah, no.
They have deficiencies in their defense that we could pick on if we just had a modicum of time. But the drop-off from Dickerson to Scott at left tackle is so severe.
Yes.
That you're left hopeless in that circumstance.
Now, I'm excited to hear Willie talk in those terms, right? Like, to be a little uncertain. He's obviously feeling very good about Derek Kelly playing. Now, Derek Kelly, folks, is not very good. But...
well, at tackle especially.
Oh, no. Not very good at all. But he's one of our best five. So if he can play, that's a good thing. It's relative, but it's a good thing. Landon Dickerson is our best offensive lineman, and if he can't play, it's a devastating thing. If he can, even at about 80%, I'm going to tell you that that's got to happen, and maybe you have a fighting chance to be in this game, maybe. Or at least to execute something on offense that gives you a puncher's chance, right? That's all you're asking for. It's like being completely outclassed, but, you've got to punch. Who knows? Maybe you catch him. Maybe the guard comes down and you catch a shot, right? You got a puncher's chance. If N'Kosi Perry turns the football over and Landon Dickerson is to play in this game and give us a modicum of time to throw, as you noted, Tom, okay. You need some special teams things to happen. Maybe you need a little bit of luck, a fortuitous bounce or two. But these things happen in football. And they especially happen when you're relying on kids to execute a game plan. Sometimes they don't do as you would have them do, especially when they want something very, very badly. You have to hope that Miami does a lot of things that reveal just how hungry they are to get this win, and it causes temporarily them to not execute in the moment. Either they're too emotional or they over-pursue because they're overly aggressive.
Sounds an awful lot like Knowles and Gators on the baseball diamond. You need baseball to be baseball to have a chance. And you need ball to be ball, as Jimbo would say.
Well, right. And the thing is, in baseball, obviously, any given night, you get a kid who could toe the rubber and, he may be painting black and, you're in the game. It's 1-1 in the 7th. You got a shot. That's the problem with football is that 9 times out of 10, bigger, stronger, faster is going to get it done. I mean, especially when it's fairly significant in the trenches.
ACC doesn't mandate injury reports anymore, but that sounds like Derek Kelly
is going to play and Landon Dickerson is not.
Where they'd still probably list him as questionable/probable, but Dickerson is doubtful. He's not out, but he's doubtful.
You're right. If there was still an official injury report, you would have heard doubtful for Landon and probable for Derek.
I don't know where you'd play him, though. It seems like the guard situation is, if Arthur's not starting and you play Minshew and Arnold, you replace Arnold and you put Kelly at left. Minshew did okay last week in the running game when he didn't have to pull.
I'm going to be real.
You've got a lot of guards. It's like we've got.
No, you got a plethora of guards and no tackles. I'm going to be really happy when we are able to upgrade our offensive line. Just that simple. And there's no way you could have had Josh Ball on this team. And I get that. But at the time that he was kicked out of school and kicked off this team, because we're not heathens, we celebrated that fact because if guilty of what he was accused of, then it's hideous. And so you just said, all right, goodbye, good riddance.
Didn't look good.
No, it certainly didn't. And so what you said at the time is what we all said, right? Well, screw him. I'm not even going to give it a second thought. You can't be anywhere near my campus. You can't be anywhere near this football team if that's who you are. But if we're only talking football, we may have underestimated what a devastating loss that was in the moment. Because we certainly didn't allude to it. And I understand we weren't trying to be crass, but that turns out to be a devastating loss to this program. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Oleg and Wingo. Texas Tech quarterback Alan Bowman is expected back with the team today. He spent several days in the hospital with a partially collapsed lung. from last Saturday's game against West Virginia. From the NBA, Mavericks center DeAndre Jordan is not with the team on its trip to China after a death in his family. Harrison Barnes also not on the trip for Dallas with a hamstring injury.
Makita cordless specials are heating up at Cornerstone Tool and Fastener in October. Buy a Makita brushless premium 5 amp hour kit with 2 batteries and get a 6 amp hour battery free. Plus, get your choice of the following: brushless recip saw, circular saw, half-inch impact drill, or a Bluetooth radio. Get rid of the gas with the Makita outdoor power equipment. Buy a brushless chainsaw or blower kit and receive 4 5 amp hour batteries and a dual bay chamber. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener with 2 locations to choose from: 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays 8 until noon.
Napa know-how. This month, a 2-pack of Napa Night Vision headlamps is up to $10 off. Because with fall comes longer nights and poor overall visibility. Luckily, our headlamps have superior illumination, which helps reduce the chance of an accident. See better, drive safer, with up to $10 off a 2-pack of Napa Night Vision headlamps. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer ends 10/31/18.
Come into Lowe's to save on everything you need to get your home ready for holiday visitors. Give your guest bath or your master bath a stylish new look with up to 40% off select vanities. Plus, take advantage of our in-store clearance event and save on all kinds of products and supplies to help you tackle your to-do list, inside or out. Stop by your local Lowe's to learn more. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Vanity offer valid through 10/10. Exclusions apply while supplies last. U.S. only. Clearance pricing and selection vary. See store for details.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Look around. That's right. You see Nissans everywhere. Tallahassee has officially become a Nissan town. Kraft Nissan town. Why? Because Kraft Nissan has the best pricing, best selection, and the best buying experience in town. And at Kraft Nissan, you get the best value for your dollar with more standard features, our exclusive and the original lifetime warranty, our easy choice menu that gives you a price and payment in writing, our new For You program that helps people with damaged credit, and every new 2018 Nissan we sell has available 0% interest for 60 months, plus $1,000 over Kelley Blue Book for your trade. Best of all, my people are the best in the business. They'll greet you with a smile and a handshake, and they know your time is valuable. My managers are always accessible, and of course, you can always ask for me or my brother Peter. Bottom line, if you need a new or pre-owned car, you need to experience the Kraft difference. Great people, great product, great price, with the best car buying experience in town. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Appreciate you tuning in. Redemption Thursday wagers are up. Remember that, by the way, somebody asked me during the break, that's for charity. It's non-perishable food items. You pick the place that you'd like to donate to. You wager those items against me. Our picks are also up on the Facebook page, ESPN Tallahassee on Facebook. So if you want to know what they are and you want to single them out, go ahead and do it. It's the honor system, so if you don't Look, if I lose, I know what I am each week, so I know how many cans of non-perishable food goods I need to get or whatever it might be before I drop them off. And if you beat me or if you lost to me. Some of you just out there getting tattooed by me. Some of you are on a roll. Don't get the big head. Don't get the big head.
It's a long season.
It's a very long season. You have your good days and your bad days when it comes to the numbers game, man.
Oh, so you're up big on the blackjack table. Keep playing.
I told you the story the last time I was in Vegas and I had the run of a lifetime, and the guy said, "Do you think it's normal to win 9 hands in a row?" That's a cool dealer. How cool is that guy? Because it was 4 o'clock in the morning.
The pit boss probably wouldn't like him, but yeah, absolutely.
He was a nice guy, and I couldn't sleep, and I went down there, and it was like I went down there like 3 o'clock and started playing and was winning, and they were feeding me drinks, and I was hanging out, and I'm still winning, and yeah, he just looks at me. There's 2 other guys, and he think it's normal to win 9 hands in a row. It's like, no. He's like, right. How cool is that?
Double down.
I don't think they normally do that. I think normally they would have been like, oh, well, this is a dumbass. Okay. So I tipped him well and said,
he knew.
Yeah,
he knew he'd get a giant tip if he did that.
He did. He got a good tip, and then I took it to another table. I think he meant, like, you need to leave this table and go somewhere else and come back. And also he's, pointing out to the
saying,
odds.
Go home, man. Go, if home's the 5th floor, then go.
Yeah, go. I'll see you later on. Maybe I will. You'll be here for a while. Yeah, they got me. They wouldn't be mad at him because the object is to get you back. They actually want you to win a little bit, especially if it's one of your first times out there. Oh, please, by all means, take $5,000. What's $5,000 and make it up 30 seconds later? They don't care. And then, you think you've done something. You've gotten over on Vegas, so you'll book that next trip. You damn right you will. And then they're like, oh, welcome back, Mr. Cameron. Let's see how it goes. Keep on coming.
The room is ready to your specifications, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time. Go read David Hale's article on what it was 30 years ago when the Seminole Rap made its debut in 1988. We're having David on the program tomorrow. We will have David on in the 5 o'clock hour tomorrow. In fact, in the interest of transparency here, we're recording tomorrow's show. We're going to do that later today. Because I'm on the road tomorrow, but we wanted to give you content. So we'll talk about Florida State, Miami. We'll talk about the weekend that is, and we'll have a couple of interviews, and one of them is going to be David Hale from ESPN.com, college football.
It's like an old school lock-in at the gym. That's what we're doing tonight.
That's right.
It's time to hit some more Cameron show after this one's over.
There is. And I'm going to ask him a lot about I'm going to ask him about a lot of things. I'm about ask him about the state of the ACC and college football as a whole, and I want to ask him what he's hearing from around the league because he talks to other coaches from other programs about their thoughts on what's going on in Tallahassee. Believe me, it's a topic of conversation. You get a lot of people. I get calls all the time from other radio hosts like myself in their respective cities and or journalists who say, hey, can you give me some insight on why you guys suck? I mean, because I'm watching, and this doesn't look like something that I ever thought I'd see from Florida State. And then, you have the longer, broader conversation, and, most of the time you're just kind of confirming their hunches anyhow, because anybody who's watched football for any length of time can see that that's a group that you can't win with up front. Not consistently against good teams, and the problem is, I think that when you have that conversation, as you and I have had, and when you vet this thing, the troubling conclusion that you come to is it's not something that you can quickly fix.
No,
that's hard to accept.
It is a long-term fix unless you have a freak of a freshman and a couple of JUCOs that hit right away. Because if you have 3 decent players and you can put it together from center,
you can hide
to one tackle. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now you can put a tight end on the other side or an H-back on the other side of a formation, run some counters because they know what you know, that you have one strong side. All that stuff can happen, but you got to have 3. Right now we don't have 3, man. We're not connecting the dots all that well.
It's the hope that it can turn around. I bring it up all the time. Georgia under Kirby Smart were not getting the most out of the talent from the skill positions that they had when he arrived. They were 4-4, and it was because they couldn't block. And then they could. Just like that. That was a minor miracle. The going out and getting kind of a blue-chip class of offensive linemen and a couple of JUCOs, and the next thing you know, Georgia.
Well, they give you a fair shot to get to the line of scrimmage. That's the other thing, too. I don't know how much success Dalvin would have in this situation. And Dalvin is a freak.
Dalvin erased a lot of problems.
He erased a lot of problems. He would have more success than either of our backs are having right now, but I don't know that he would be, a household name around the country the way he was when he was here at Florida State, because you're just constantly getting teed off on, and also the quarterback isn't fully confident in what he's seeing when it comes to running the read option. So you're putting your tailback in a position to get killed in a moment where the quarterback has to keep the ball. You got a lot of things working against you at one time here.
I have a question, and I'm just talking out loud here and sort of spitballing. When would you allow for others to have more carries? Like Amir Rasul?
I would have thought we would have seen something along those lines last week at Louisville.
The reason I asked the question is, somebody brought it up on Twitter to us, and I think it's a fair observation. It is very similar to the way we viewed Dalvin Cook. Remember, we were real close to saying he needs to sit because he wasn't the same guy. When we watched him against Ole Miss, when we saw the level of play that had dropped off, we began to speculate at the time that certainly he has to be hurt.
Oh, the Louisville game was unbelievable. He didn't look like he wanted to be out there at all.
No, and we were saying this is not, something's wrong with him. He doesn't want to be there. He's hurt. Something's wrong. And then Jimbo kept denying it. But we knew different, right? There was no explosiveness, and he was almost sheepish.
Well, I think the most honest part about that whole situation was at some point he's got to learn to play through the pain. That was about Jimbo's seventh answer.
He finally,
but that one was the truth. It was he's just got to learn to manage it and deal with it, and then once he gets over it, it'll be okay. And he did, and Dalvin figured it out. But you could even see he had a good game against USF, Willie Taggart's USF squad down in Tampa,
correct.
And there was a shot on the sideline of Dalvin in excruciating pain on a knee. I remember watching that thinking, oh, my God, he's playing through this?
Yeah.
He had a good game. Jaquez had a good game. In fact, our ground game had about as good of a day as we've had in quite some time. And then he figured it out from there, and he was the same player he used to be.
Well, I bring it all up because clearly Cam, who is hampered by an offensive line that is not very good, is also not the player that we saw last year. And the two are married. I mean, obviously, he was a fit for that scheme. He learned it by season's end. He got more patient, and then you started to see the talent come through. But he's also a guy that doesn't look explosive when he has opportunities. And not every run of his is met with somebody in the backfield. Not every run has been now most of them have, but not all of them have been solely because of the breakdown of an offensive line. And I don't know how much of it is psychological after getting people diving at your feet the second you touch the ball time and again, and how much of it is a guy who's playing through something. Because I'm of the impression, just an opinion, I do not know this to be true, but my opinion is he's not healthy. He's not 100% healthy. I mean, he's obviously healthy enough to play, and there are moments. Listen, that fourth down run, he ran like a man. I mean, he made that happen. He broke a tackle. He was tough. But we're not seeing the explosiveness from him when he has daylight that we saw at the end of last year.
No, and he's not setting it up right either. There are some times when he has things in the perimeter and he makes the wrong decision. And Willie's lamented that every week that he's asked about the ground game is we need our guys to trust their training and trust the system. And it's just not happening. But, Cam is at least contributing in terms of the quick hitters. I mean, I think, again, that's the worst thing that happened to this offensive staff on Saturday in terms of sticking with the run was we had early success if you just had a dive play called. We were moving the pile for 3 to 5 yards at a time. That was working, with Cam especially. And then they tried to keep going back to it, especially with 9, and it's just not quite the same.
Not quite the same. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
All this year at Hobbit American Grill on West Pensacola. When the Knolls hit the road, head to Hobbit with us.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
The Bucks play here.
Pass to the left side. It's intercepted. Picked off to the 40 outside the numbers to the 30, 25. Bobby McClain inside the 5. Touchdown Tampa Bay.
97.9 ESPN Radio. Tallahassee's sports monster.
Just how good does a Sport Clips championship haircut experience make you feel? Like your hair has its own walk-up music. No matter what kind of guy you are. Maybe you play sports. Maybe you play sports online. Or maybe your sport is keeping up with your kids. You want hair so good it deserves its own walk-up music. And at Sport Clips, we make it easy. Just check in online, choose your stylist, and head to Sport Clips. You'll get a game-changing cut from a stylist trained for guys. Go big with the MVP experience and get recharged with a massaging shampoo and their legendary hot steamed towel. They'll always finish strong by styling your hair just right, tightening up that beard, and getting you on your way. Hair this good needs no introduction, but you'll want one anyway. Appointment-free championship haircuts for men and boys surrounded by what you know and love, sports. So get in line online today at sportclips.com/check-in and get your hair in the game.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Time now for your Atlanta Braves Minute, brought to you by Fonville, Lewis, Messer, and McConaughey. Personal injury law is all they do.
Tonight from Dodger Stadium, it's the Braves and the Dodgers in Game 1 of the National League Division Series. The Braves champions of the East, Dodgers champions of the West, and they will collide in Game 1 from Dodger Stadium tonight. Braves will be handing the ball to Mike Foltynewicz as he makes his first postseason start. Foltynewicz is a guy that finished the season extremely strong, 13-10 this season with a sub-3 ERA. He faced the Dodgers once this year. That was in July. Lost that ball game to Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers. Initially, we thought that he would be taking on Kershaw in Game 1, but the Dodgers decided to flip-flop their Game 1 and 2 starters, and Hyunjin Ryu, the left-hander from Korea, will get the ball for the Dodgers. He finished the season strong in his last 3 starts. He gave up 1 earned run in his final 19 innings of the year, and he'll be going on normal rest. This will be the 3rd time the Braves and the Dodgers have squared off in the postseason. In 1996, the Braves swept the Dodgers in the National League Division Series, and in 2013, the Dodgers won in 4 over the Braves in the NLDS. First pitch at 8:37 Eastern, 7:37 Central. I'm Ben Ingram, and this has been your Atlanta Braves Radio Network update.
Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Appreciate you tuning to it. You know, I'm looking at ways that we can keep DeAndre Francois alive this weekend, because it's being pointed out on Twitter by friends of the program that they're concerned for him, given my doom and gloom attitude about our ability to block it up. Well, a lot of this stems from not just that group being poor up front, but the fact that Landon Dickerson may not play. It doesn't seem likely that he will. And so then, yes, that doom and gloom grew darker and gloomier is upon hearing that not feeling real good about it, right? So I don't know. There's no way I can't spin that. But I would say that the quick passing game is going to be a big part of what we have to do here. You're going to get the ball out of his hands very, very rapidly.
Needs to be. My nightmare last week heading into Louisville was coverage busts, and lo and behold, they happened. Thankfully, Puma Pass could not pass the ball where it needed to be passed.
Not consistently, no.
This week, it's about blowing us up at the mesh point. You know, it's like, here we go. All right, Cam, is it you? Is it me? And it's gone. You've got a defensive tackle just landing in the middle of this, and there goes the football. Turnover chain. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I can
shoot in the gap, man.
There are a lot of scenarios where certainly I feel like the game gets away from you, and the quickest one is for them to do something along those lines and blow up a play in the backfield that leads to a turnover and a score. That place gets going nuts, and it's a much better. I will tell you, if you haven't been down there, if you're a sadomasochist and you're going down like I am, then. And you haven't been since they made the renovations to the field and the stands closer and the enclosure there above with the kind of open roof there and all that stuff. It's a much better place and venue to watch a game than it used to be. I prefer the old one because they had no home field advantage to speak of. Zero. The field was far removed from the stands, and it was quiet, and they just had nothing going for them. Now, when they show up, and they are doing that more under Rick, and now that they're starting to win a little bit, and certainly they always showed up to this game, you can bet that, all kinds of Dade County JUCOs will be there at the game with their Miami gear on. So, all of that is true, but it is loud when they get it going. It's true. They now have a home field advantage, yes.
It translates on TV. For sure. You can feel that, too. Even Thursday night against North Carolina, it's their tune-up game, but they were ready to go, and you can feel the pylon effect. And that's the way it is at a place like NC State, for example. When that place gets loud. The Whiz Palace has a pylon effect.
And when the farm is, the fair at the farm is kicking it, they get going, man. When it's those weekends when we roll up there and the fair is going on, Tom.
I should check and see when the State Fair is being held this year, because we're playing in November, and that's typically kind of trouble territory, isn't it?
It is. Wiz Palace gets a rockin'. They spend all day at the fair with the other rednecks, and they come into that game. They've been drinking all afternoon, and the whizzing gets going, and boy, that place is tough. Good old Wiz Palace. They should have that painted on the side.
We are covered. It's happening next week, and it ends
Sunday,
October 21st.
Goodness, no. Hey, so, I got to tell you, I've been getting up early this week. Now, this was the first day that I didn't get up super, super early, because most every other day I've been getting up like 5-ish. Tom, have you noticed when you go outside early in the morning, there's a little bit of those football winds were in the air, even late evening yesterday.
So I don't know what's more unbelievable about this number, but this is the first time we got below 60 degrees since Or it's below 70
I was gonna
degrees.
say, what the hell are you
Forgive me.
talking
In
about?
the
It was
60s.
not below 60 degrees.
In
Yeah.
the 60s, below 70 degrees. And that
Mhm.
stunned face, I hope we can get that for a GIF on the camera.
Where was I? When did this happen?
When the
Yeah.
Knowles win this game, or it's happening in the second quarter,
get that.
I'm going to
Use
get that GIF of the stunned look on your face.
Because I was outside late last night after I got done doing the golf show, and it was not in the 50s.
According to the meteorologists here in town, July 11th, we were actually below 70 degrees.
I think that's accurate.
For a moment. But this is the first time since July 11th that we've actually been below 70
So we
degrees.
hit 69 last night, 68?
This morning, early morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that the last couple of days going outside, kissing the kids goodbye for school, giving them hugs, telling them to get on with the getting and all that. I walk out, I go, hey, what we got going on here? All right.
Still a high of 90, though, sir.
Yeah, no, not good. But the evenings, okay. Anyhow, the point would be, I'm glad we're not up there during the fair time at the Wiz Palace. NC State can get loud. You're right. And right now, Miami will get loud. And if you give up turnovers that turn into points, God forbid they're all in the same play, we see what happens. That's when the avalanche effect that I referred to happens. That's when this thing begins to just slide into the abyss, and you're just looking at the clock. And we've all been there for games with our team. If you, for example, would have been a Bucks fan on the road at Soldier Field last weekend, you'd have been staring at that clock midway through the second quarter going, how quickly can we get this sucker to zero?
Man, I dropped $1,000 to come to this game.
This is ridiculous.
I guess I'm going to stick around.
Yeah.
Paid $20 more for a beer. What's the difference at this point?
At least I went to Chicago and lost to the Bears. My Bucks did in overtime in 19-degree weather, which was fantastic. Those poor souls. But I did notice the Cubs game the other night, the one that they lost, not having won a single playoff game this year or division, those fans were bundled up a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought, well, what are we in store for when we take it on over during our trip to Notre Dame to South Bend, right?
Hashtag Chai to SB, which is Chicago to South Bend with GameDayExcursions.com.
Use the promo code JCS.
$10 off every ticket, folks.
That's how you do a commercial on the fly. Boom. Look at us.
I'm looking forward to that trip.
Pros pro.
Just to check a city off, a great city of the world off of my list.
Yeah, but you're really not going to get to see it.
I'll be there all day Thursday. I get in Thursday morning at like 10
man.
in the morning.
It's like you telling me, well, Jeff, enjoy New York City in that Thursday afternoon that you have.
We will have Thursday. I'll have Thursday all day, and then I'll have Friday, the first portion of it, before we have to go to ESPN 1000 Studios.
Good times going to ESPN 1000 Studios.
Oh, yeah.
I'll check that off my list. I've been to Chicago like 15 times, but I've not been to where I could do a show from there.
Wrigleyville and a museum or two. I think that's what I want to do.
Well, go to the Field Museum where you can actually see it, because you're not going to get a chance to see it when you do the beverages.
Right,
before
it
you jump
looks
on the
like
bus.
you're just out in the plaza.
Go do the Navy Pier and all that stuff. Have a good time, buddy.
Fan-friggin-tastic.
There you go, buddy. I can give you lots of places that I like to go to.
I'm sure you have a list.
There's a great many. That's a fun place. The unintended consequences, oh, by the way, is the story of the day regarding the new redshirt rule. And it makes me laugh. Nick Saban, quote, "This is sort of an unintended consequence of the new rule." Oklahoma coach Lincoln Riley. That's probably one of the unintended consequences of the new rule. Nebraska coach Scott Frost. Any rule you pass always has unintended consequences. Louisville coach Bobby Petrino. It's one of those things that had unintended consequences, and nobody really understood that things like that were going to happen. Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby. It's obvious there are now some unintended consequences that we're having to deal with the new rule. Hey, guys, did we have a conference call that I missed?
Yeah, you're going to take it back? Too late.
Many people anticipated the consequences. The transfers took a lot of people by surprise. But know this as you hear it. There weren't that many. 10.
Well, you said this 2 weeks ago when we had this discussion, and it was about unintended consequences, externalities in the economic jargon.
Mm-hmm.
You said, hey, man, remind yourself, coaches pushed for this. So anytime they complain, they're the ones who push for this rule.
I did say that because I covered it the entire summer. It was the topic du jour. I had experts on from all across the country to talk about that very thing, and I thought, what are we doing? It's an easy thing to embrace. It gives the student-athletes some power. Good. They're no longer hamstrung all the time. Coaches come and go whenever the hell they want. Listen, this is not that big a deal. And, oh, by the way, the supposed unintended consequences are what? We're talking about 10 people. And Jalen Hurts didn't even leave. He was the guy we talked about the most. But again, it's a month into the new rules application, right? And coaches are, starting to wonder if they thought, they think it's such a good thing. But they're the ones who pushed for the rule change. They're the ones who always wanted this to be the case. And I thought, hey, good for the NCAA and good for these coaches getting something right for once. It's the right thing to do. And now there's a few of them that, I don't like this.
It'd be fantastic if Tua goes down and then Hurts in that moment says, no, you're not playing me. I'm transferring. I was just here for practice the whole time. I didn't think I'd be put back in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not by the way, that you ought not hear a single coach second guess that rule, and I'll tell you why. January 10th, the FBS coaches had their annual meeting in Charlotte. That's what they do, right? And they went there and they talked at length about the redshirt rule, and they wanted to be sure everybody was on board, and they put it to a vote. It was unanimously passed. There wasn't a single coach that went, I don't know, guys. There might be some unintended consequences. Not one person said that. None of them. All of them went, yep, we like the rule.
A point of order, guys. Can I just bring to the table there might be, hey, shut up, Paul Johnson. Just vote yay. Nobody cares what you think.
A unanimous vote. So it's not like this past 60-40. Unanimously, everybody went, oh, yeah, that's a good rule. Great rule.
Yeah, it's filibuster proof.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's coaches. Pat Fitzgerald, for example, at Northwestern, is an AFCA board member, and he says he remembers the discussion about midseason transfers, but several coaches now say they're surprised. He's pointing out that that's odd since they had this discussion, and it was voted on. I crack up with this stuff.
Yeah, but all of the schools, this will never get voted the other way because the have-nots are laughing their ass off at this circumstance because it's usually the haves, like the people who have too much that are running into these problems. There aren't enough spaces for quarterbacks. Only one is on the field at any given time. So I'm sure schools at mid-level, low-level, Power 5 / FBS teams are all saying, yeah, sorry about that. I'm sorry your life is so difficult at Clemson.
Right. Now, you might feel for a guy like Chad Morris. I suppose he lost a linebacker at Arkansas, but he was a backup linebacker first of all, and he elected to use his transfer right. And this is what Chad Morris said: "Quote: I don't think anybody saw this coming. What it could lead to, the consequences of all of this."
Dude, you're in dogfights with Colorado State. This ain't the year to be worrying about that.
It should also be noted, and you're right about that, that James Franklin said, you talk about using the game to teach life lessons and things like that. I'm concerned because when you take the combination of the new redshirt rule, and more importantly, that we've made transferring easier and easier for guys, I worry we're getting to a point where instead of staying and working through challenges, guys will not elect to overcome adversity and just leave.
I now hate James Franklin, so thanks for that quote. F off. That's ridiculous. Stay at Vandy then. Times are tough at Vandy, but you can overcome it if you stick with it,
That's
Coach.
right, buddy. Hang in there. You're being paid handsomely to mold young men, most notably after devastating losses. You're there for a purpose, James. Hang tough, buddy.
But sure, let's shake hands with Urban Meyer at the 50-yard line and talk about life lessons.
Well, those two could have an interesting conversation given what happened at Vandy. And we know what just happened at Ohio State. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Make this musical request or this one. So yeah, you can keep drinking the same old, but we think you'll like the exploding fist bump, last second shot, showing up to the party properly way to lemon lime, right? Mountain Dew Ice. Clear, refreshing lemon lime, redefined.
Looking for a new place to watch your favorite sporting events? Hobbit American Grill with 3 locations to choose from. Just show them your stub. That's right, your ticket stub from any local sporting event for $1 pints and $3 crafts. BOGO Mondays every Monday with 50% off specials. Like or follow on Facebook to get all the details. PS4 tourneys, trivia, karaoke, darts, and more. Lots of daily lunch specials under $8. Happy hour specials daily and happy hour all day on Friday. The Hobbit American Grill.
FSU fans know where to get the best barbecue. Willie Jewell's Old School Barbecue, 5442 Thomasville Road. Old School Barbecue, cooked low and slow. Find out for yourself what all the buzz is about. And when it comes to tailgating, Willie Jewell's does it best. Get the barbecue tailgate special, pork, brisket, chicken, ribs, turkey, and wings with all the fixins. Ready to make your tailgate the place to pregame. The football team has new blood, but when it comes to barbecue, it's old school. Willie Jewell's Old School Barbecue, 5442 Thomasville Road. Go Noles.
Makita cordless specials are heating up at Cornerstone Tool and Fastener in October. Buy a Makita brushless premium 5 amp hour kit with 2 batteries and get a 6 amp hour battery free. Plus, get your choice of the following: brushless recip saw, circular saw, half-inch impact drill, or a Bluetooth radio. Get rid of the gas with the Makita outdoor power equipment. Buy a brushless chainsaw or blower kit and receive 4 5 amp hour batteries and a dual bay chamber. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener with 2 locations to choose from: 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays 8 until noon.
Yo, this is your cup holder talking. You know me, the little round thing between your car seats. Now, listen, we need to talk. Now, I normally have a nice cold bottle of Mountain Dew in me, but at the moment, I'm empty. That's right, no Mountain Dew. Nothing in here but a couple of quarters and a dime. Those 60 cents have been freeloading a ride in me for weeks now. I really don't want to be seen like this. A fully capable cup holder like me just carrying your loose change, it's embarrassing. It's beneath me. Look, I'm not made for loose change. I'm round like a bottle of Mountain Dew. Glistening, cold, and delicious. I'm made to keep Mountain Dew within reach at all times, so you're never far from that incredible bold citrus kick whenever you need it. Just inches from your hand, all snug and secure where it won't tip over or roll under your seat or get hot in the sun. So find a store already. Grab some Dew, toss it back, then place that bottle where it belongs, and put that loose change back in your pocket. That's what pockets are for. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
This is The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Happy Redemption Thursday. Wagers look like this. I took Utah State plus 2.5 against BYU. Georgia Tech -4.5 against a downtrodden Louisville club who I don't think will come to play. Could be wrong, but I'm playing a hunch. Texas +8 against Oklahoma. Rivalry game. Give me more than a touchdown. I'll take it. Ball State +3 against Northern Illinois. Yes, I like to gamble. I think it's evident when you see picks like that. Clemson -19 versus Wake. I'm following a T. Lizzie hunch there. Notre Dame -5.5 against Virginia Tech. Tech surprised me last week against Duke. I don't think they will here. Notre Dame big. Miami -13.5 against our beloved Noles. Sorry, hate to do it. Got to do it. Landon Dickerson likely not going to play in this football game. Renders us in deep, deep trouble, barring some major turnover luck. Perhaps N'Kosi Perry, wide-eyed as he may be with the pressure of ending a near 20-year losing streak in Miami, forces the issue a little bit. A couple passes go the other way. The weight of the moment and expectation becomes too much. Okay, perhaps. Or we shock the world and guys play with a measure of pride we haven't yet seen because they know half the players on the other team and they're from the state. Maybe. I mean, that's one argument that with rivalry games makes sense, right? A lot of times you'll see a team 8-0 against a team that's 4-4 or 2-6. But those kids played at high schools that those other kids played against or with, and pride is a hell of a thing. So for a day, they tree, as I call it, which means to say they play over their heads.
She was on the other foot an awful lot when we were really, really good in these past, 7 years?
And the games were close.
Yeah.
Yeah, so perhaps you got to fall back on that. That's my hope, and if that happens, I get it wrong, that's fine. I'll celebrate being wrong. Arizona State +2.5 against Colorado. Colorado hasn't beaten anybody. I don't necessarily love Arizona State. I just don't believe in Colorado. Mississippi State +4. Playing a hunch here of a bounce-back game here. I believe, if I saw that right, Auburn plays LSU the following week, so a little bit of a look ahead.
Ooh, okay.
It could be problematic.
It wouldn't be LSU. They already lost to LSU, but
that's
it might be a
correct.
big game.
It was a big game. I can't remember who it was. I got to double-check. Why don't you double-check that for me?
Okay.
While I'm looking at these things. Who does Auburn play next week? When I was going through my list.
Siri. Who does – I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that would have been funny if you had done it. But I took Mississippi State +4 here. Well, little bounce back action. The cowbells will be lick it.
Oh,
No,
much
I got
of a
it
look
wrong.
ahead. No,
I got it
they're
wrong.
hosting Tennessee next week, Jeff.
That's not
They might want to air it out this weekend in Starkville.
No, I don't know what it is. Who's Mississippi State got?
I will check. Siri, what is
In the NFL, New England tonight -10.5 versus the Colts.
Mississippi State has LSU, but it's after a bye week.
That's what it is. Okay, so I knew somebody had LSU, damn it. But a bye week, so they can let it go. They can let it fly. They can give every last thing they got to offer Tom Lang at home.
It's an interesting month plus for Mississippi State. They host Auburn tonight, then they travel after
Not
a bye
tonight.
week. This week.
Saturday.
Forgive me.
Yep,
well,
man.
a lot of radio that we're doing these last
I was
couple
going to
of days.
say, if that's tonight, damn, we've got a good
I
game.
wish.
All
No,
right,
that-
buddy,
that
let's get
would
together.
be the light at the end of the friggin' tunnel.
Right.
Because Patriots Colts ain't exactly doing it
No,
for
it
me.
hurts your feelings, but you got playoff baseball.
Yeah.
Well, come on, man.
Yeah, that's true.
You do. You got playoff baseball, which
Well-
disappointed me last night with the Yankees winning, which you knew was going to happen after a 2-run homer. By the way, when you're in a game of that magnitude, and I understand he didn't mean to leave it there, but how about not belt high middle in to Judge in the first inning? My man, we got to get through the first inning here. Give ourselves a little bit of momentum.
There are many locations you can throw this pitch.
No, not that one. Goodness gracious.
Well, I've gotten so old, buddy, that I enjoy the baseball games in the earlier window. But if it starts, like the Braves game tonight, first pitch, 8:37, there's no way I'm making that.
Oh, come
to the
on.
end of the game.
Well, yeah, it'll be over at 11:30. You'll be all right.
That thing's going to go 3.5, 4 hours. It's the postseason. Everything takes much longer.
Everything's magnified.
The delays between the pitches.
Yeah. But we'll have the game for you right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Our coverage begins
7:20 p.m.
Damn Skippy old school. That's what we got for you right there. A little Braves postseason baseball action. And I think we can take responsibility here at ESPN Radio, ESPN Tallahassee. In particular, the Jeff Cameron Show is going to take the credit for putting the Braves on the air. That's what we do, Tom. That's how we roll.
That's what you're going to do.
That's what we do. We put the Braves on the air. We knew the people wanted it, and boy, were we right. How about the Braves? And then they go to the postseason. Braves affiliation, they called us recently and said, Tom Lang, Jeff Cameron, Alan, great work, guys. We appreciate you so much. We're having a private party for you in your honor postseason after our run's over, hopefully with a World Series title. We said, we'll take you up on it. We'll go. We're going to have a good time.
That's what they said, huh?
They did. That's,
that's
the rumor.
good news.
That is the rumor. So
it's almost like Jimbo taking credit for the fake punt.
Our coming on board really did change the fortune of the Atlanta Braves. It wasn't selecting wisely, making obviously keen trades, waiting patiently, bringing up guys at the exact right time, analytics. It was 97.9 ESPN Radio. That's how that worked.
So the next month plus for Mississippi State, this Saturday they host, obviously, Auburn. Then a bye week, they go on the road to Baton Rouge. The following week, they host Texas A&M for an interesting battle between Jimbo and what we thought would be a better Mississippi State squad. 2 weeks after that, hello, Alabama. Goodness gracious. They can stack these things up. And the SEC is not afraid to do so with certain squads. See Tennessee and this little run for Mississippi State.
One year they did it to Alabama where it was just ruthless.
Everybody else was coming off of a bye week.
Yeah, well, they changed the rule. They so bent them over that year, they went, we can't do this anymore, guys. Everything's a night game at home.
Stephen Garcia is beating us. Have you seen how difficult this is?
It's ridiculous.
We're very tired.
He's half in the bag. Yeah, I mean, that was frustrating. I mean, if you were an Alabama fan.
The ball coach is saying, hey, how is it every time we split a six-pack, I only get 2?
You know what I heard yesterday on a lot of national shows, and I thought it was interesting, and it reminded me that even during football season, if the intrigue surrounding college football is not of peak interest, meaning it's a foregone conclusion, which is bad for college football, and I think we fall under that umbrella this year, that the talking points become not who's going to win the national championship, but rather which teams would be in a position to play for it. That is to say, who's in the college football playoff. And obviously, there's not much debate for 3 of the 4 teams. The 3 of them would be Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson. The 4th is the one that's up for debate. And a lot of people believe right now, based on resume, just resume, not the eye test, not, you look at a team and say they got weaknesses, but they haven't been exposed yet. And you know who that 4th is?
Kentucky.
LSU.
Oh, I see where this is going. Yes, just based on resume.
Just based on resume, It would be LSU. And then I cracked up because they proceeded to scream at each other about why that shouldn't be or why it's wrong. And it was 25 minutes, and I thought, you're not doing that, guys.
Dude, it's the first week of October.
But, here's how it comes up, though. Notre Dame, if they beat Virginia Tech, has a real good chance to run the rest of the table. And so everybody goes, oh, well, they won't keep Notre Dame out. They can't, and all that. And somebody's going to get screwed. And who's looking at this thing a little cockeyed, a little nervous now because they're not going to get a second team in. And the SEC is clearly the toughest conference this year, and maybe it doesn't work out for them this season. I'm like, well, look, Alabama's going to win the whole damn thing. All of it's kind of moot. But, are we really doing this? Because it doesn't ever happen that way. You don't have 5 undefeated teams. You're not going to have 5 undefeated teams. You never have 5 undefeated teams.
Okay, so just for argument's sake, let's say it's Oklahoma's still undefeated, right? They haven't lost anybody.
That's correct.
So it's Alabama, it's Oklahoma, it's Clemson and Ohio State and Notre Dame. Who gets left out? All undefeated.
Say it again.
All undefeated. Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson, and Notre Dame. Notre Dame get left out because they didn't play in a conference championship game?
No.
I feel like Clemson would be the most vulnerable team because I
think Clemson is similar. The ACC sucks.
Well, and similar resumes. You could see comparables of the schedule.
Yeah. The Big 12 reputation ain't good. Oklahoma will have beaten, if you want to argue about who what's the argument
and
for
they
them?
have a conference championship game they have now for a couple of years.
So the argument about OU would be you don't get much credit for beating FAU, who turned out to be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
UCLA hasn't won a game. So, at a conference game against a Power 5 team, sometimes you can use that.
Good intention to schedule them, but not your year.
Doesn't matter, right? Then what? What do you have?
Win over Texas this weekend would
be a
be
7-point win over Army that went to overtime.
Ooh, that's not good.
That didn't help your cause. A 10-point win in which you were huge favorites against Iowa State. They did just paste Baylor, scored 66 on them, but they got Texas this weekend. That will be a quality win because I think Texas is going to go on to have a pretty
West
good
Virginia
year.
Would be a big one. That's the week of Thanksgiving.
It's the final game of the season. It's the final regular season.
That's a Friday game, is it not?
Oh, that's not the final regular season game. I got that wrong. I have that wrong, I think. I think it's at the end of November. It's the Thursday.
I believe it's the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you're right. That is their last regular season game. What the hell's wrong with me?
Well, they used to have an extra week when conference championships were going on. The
yeah.
Big 12 would still be playing regular season.
Yeah. So they get Texas this weekend. TCU has turned into a disappointment, so I don't know how much credit you're going to get there. They're unranked. You get K-State's not any good. Texas Tech is better than we thought they were going to be, but, of course, they just got derailed last week by West Virginia. The West Virginia game, as of right now, is a top 10 matchup. So you'd have really maybe 2 real quality wins.
Plus a conference championship game, which Notre Dame doesn't have.
And I guess you have to, if you're Oklahoma, you're rooting like hell for Oklahoma State not to stumble anymore. You need them to, because they're 25. You need them to be in that top 25. And you want to compare resumes. So the Notre Dame's going to get in. I'll tell you right now, Notre Dame gets in if they're undefeated.
What if Stanford falls apart, though? I mean, that's a good win right now. But Stanford should have lost to Oregon the week before.
Yeah, but they didn't. Just like Clemson should have lost to Syracuse. But
No, I get it. I'm just using it as evidence for perhaps Stanford, by the time the season is out, is number 22 in the country versus number 12. It's a big difference when you're trying to make a case.
It is. Notre Dame's schedule looks like this. I'll do it quickly because it is. Now, this part of the discussion is fascinating. It's not going to matter because they're not all going to be undefeated.
No, they're not all going to be undefeated. But
I'm falling victim to the thing I'm making fun of.
But where's Notre Dame's stature in the game compared to teams that are actually in conferences?
Well, here's what hurts Notre Dame because, remember, they do take on everybody. I mean, we're always giving them credit. They played Michigan out the gate. Michigan is currently ranked 14th in the country, right? Is that right?
It sounds right, yeah.
24-17, they win that game. I mean,
Notre Dame barely beats Ball State and Vandy.
And Ball State defense got a little something for you this weekend, buddy. Yeah, there you
Vandy
go.
too. Those are both at home.
Yeah, but that was with Wimbush, and they got rid of Wimbush. I mean, his ass is on the bench.
What's more than likely is, say something like this happens. You have a one-loss Big 12 champion and one-loss Notre Dame.
Right.
What do you do then? And everybody else, you got
it
3 other conferences.
It depends on who the loss is to. If Notre Dame loses to Pitt, goodbye Notre Dame. If Notre Dame loses to Southern Cal on the road and Southern Cal is a 9-win team, okay, it's a better loss, right? But that would be the last game of the year for them.
What if Notre Dame lost to Florida State?
Ooh,
that's the end of their season, huh?
Devastating. Good night, Irene. I just think that it's weird. They're getting hurt here. Virginia Tech on the road this weekend should be a feather in your cap. I don't think by season's end it's going to be.
It's a ranked victory if they get it. Virginia Tech is somehow back in the top 25.
They were last week when they played. They were still in the top 25 after Old Dominion waxed them. That makes zero sense. But, all right, so Notre Dame in a given season, that given season is this one, would have a win over Michigan. I'm just going to name Power 5. Michigan, Vanderbilt, Wake, Stanford, Va Tech, Pitt, Northwestern, Florida State, Syracuse, Southern Cal. Like, all those are Power 5 programs, every one of them.
That Syracuse win might be a big one. Where's that game being played?
It's at Notre Dame. 2:30 on NBC the week after we play them.
Ooh.
You want to stay over and watch the big Syracuse Notre Dame game,
Dungy.
buddy?
It's Dungy time.
Yeah. But Notre Dame gets hurt a little bit here because, they make the switch to book and, they got to be happy. They've thrown for 325 and 278. They look like they got something going. Their defense has been good all year long. They've given up in order 17, 16, 17, 27, 17 is what they've given up. I don't imagine they're going to give up a lot of points to Virginia Tech's backup quarterback this weekend.
Probably 17.
Probably. It feels that way, right? And then they play Pitt, and then they play Navy. Anyhow, an undefeated Notre Dame team goes. They go. They get the benefit of the doubt, man. Ratings.
We need them not to, so they join the ACC.
Well,
we need them.
They're not going to join.
We need the doomsday scenario for Notre Dame that they are tied in the loss column with the 4th or 5th team. So you have a debate, a giant debate. But the other team has a conference championship victory. And that is what the playoff committee says was the deciding factor on television. If all of those things happen, it becomes more likely that Notre Dame will eventually sign on. And maybe we can make a couple extra bucks a year as a conference than we already do.
I'm biased, but I think Clemson, maybe I'm wrong, maybe Clemson would go over Notre Dame, right? So we're saying Alabama, Ohio State. Yeah, Clemson's going. And then it's just about the 4th. It's just about the argument with the 4th.
Right. Well, it won't be a Pac-12 team because this is an undefeated argument, so that's too late.
All right. So
unless it's Oregon.
But again, the reason that Clemson would go is that they did go on the road and beat Texas A&M. and they'll have wins at that point over Texas A&M, and then later on they'll have a win over.
No, they don't have very much.
No,
They're not working with much.
No, but they'll have killed Miami in the ACC championship game. That'll be a quality win.
A little 41-0 action, something like that.
It'll be something like that. It'll be a quality win. That'll, But they get hurt because the win against us here is going to be not worth a lot.
They're vulnerable. I mean, the kid's going to be good, but they got to get it together with Lawrence here pretty soon.
And you're predicting it happens this weekend.
This is true.
All right. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Cameron, it's tough to do the things you'd like to do if you're not getting quality sleep. I should know because I was settling for subpar sleep with my old pillow. Now that I got a My Pillow, I get that deep feeling refreshed the next morning kind of sleep, and I need it, and you deserve it. Look, I couldn't do the things I needed to do unless I could get the kind of restorative sleep My Pillow gives me now, night in and night out. Now that you're getting back into the swing of things and the summer's over, you need your rest more than ever. My Pillow has brought back their best offer ever. Buy one My Pillow and get one absolutely free. Go to mypillow.com and make sure you use my promo code 979ESPN. If you want that quality sleep that has you feeling like a new person the next morning, take advantage of this offer now. My Pillow is 100% machine washable and dryable. It comes with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Go to mypillow.com, click on the buy one, get one free special, and use my code 979ESPN. And you'll get one free pillow when you buy one at a regular price plus shipping. Take advantage of their best offer ever. Go to mypillow.com, click on the buy one, get one free special, and enter the promo code 979ESPN or call 1-800-944-6596.
Time now for your Atlanta Braves Minute. Brought to you by Fonville, Lewis, Messer, and McConaughey. Personal injury law is all they do.
Tonight from Dodger Stadium, it's the Braves and the Dodgers in Game 1 of the National League Division Series. The Braves champions of the East, Dodgers champions of the West, and they will collide in Game 1 from Dodger Stadium tonight. Braves will be handing the ball to Mike Foltynewicz as he makes his first postseason start. Foltynewicz is a guy that finished the season extremely strong, 13-10 this season with a sub-3 ERA. He faced the Dodgers once this year. That was in July. Lost that ball game to Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers. Initially, we thought that he would be taking on Kershaw in Game 1, but the Dodgers decided to flip-flop their Game 1 and 2 starters, and Hyunjin Ryu, the left-hander from Korea, will get the ball for the Dodgers. He finished the season strong in his last 3 starts. He gave up 1 earned run in his final 19 innings of the year, and he'll be going on normal rest. This will be the 3rd time the Braves and the Dodgers have squared off in the postseason. In 1996, the Braves swept the Dodgers in the National League Division Series, and in 2013, the Dodgers won in 4 over the Braves in the NLDS. First pitch at 8:37 Eastern, 7:37 Central. I'm Ben Ingram, and this has been your Atlanta Braves Radio Network update.
Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Look around. That's right. You see Nissans everywhere. Tallahassee has officially become a Nissan town. Kraft Nissan Town. Why? Because Kraft Nissan has the best pricing, best selection, and the best buying experience in town. And at Kraft Nissan, you get the best value for your dollar with more standard features, our exclusive and the original lifetime warranty, our easy choice menu that gives you a price and payment in writing, our New For You program that helps people with damaged credit, and every new 2018 Nissan we sell has available 0% interest for 60 months, plus $1,000 over Kelley Blue Book for your trade. Best of all, my people are the best in the business. They'll greet you with a smile and a handshake, and they know your time is valuable. My managers are always accessible, and of course, you can always ask for me or my brother Peter. Bottom line, if you need a new or pre-owned car, you need to experience the Kraft difference. Great people, great product, great price, with the best car buying experience in town. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
Need help moving? Two Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit twomen.com or call them at 850-224-2232. Two Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
Welcome back to Ask the Doc from the Rug Doctor Institute of Clean. Next caller.
Hi, Doc. I just got an estimate from a carpet cleaning service, and apparently it includes cleaning out my wallet.
Their $99 special turned into $299.
Exactly.
That's bad math, but I have good news. Rent a Rug Doctor today at your local supermarket and deep clean your home for a fraction of what it costs to hire the pros, starting at $29.99 a day.
Thanks, Doc.
Rug Doctor today for a cleaner tomorrow.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The National League Division Series gets started today in Milwaukee. The Brewers host the Rockies. It's a bullpen day for the Brewers. Brandon Woodruff gets the start. He started only 4 games this season. Antonio Senzatella starts for Colorado. That game at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. To be followed by Game 1 for the Braves and Dodgers in Los Angeles. Every game of the baseball postseason is on ESPN Radio. In the NFL, Week 5 kicks off tonight in Foxborough. The Patriots host the Colts. New England gets wideout Julian Edelman back from a 4-game suspension, and tight end Rob Gronkowski is expected to play, says ESPN's Adam Schefter. Many defensive players around the league are still confused about what is an illegal hit, especially against the quarterback. ESPN's Bill Polian.
As we will see as time goes by, there is a way to tackle them that's legal, that will, and if the officials see the whole play and don't react to the severity of the hit,
exactly,
it'll straighten out over time. Keep this in mind. It takes 2 years for any rule change or point of emphasis to really seep through the whole system and become part of the ecosystem of the league. We're only a quarter of this year into it.
Bill Polian on Golick and Wingo. Texas Tech quarterback Alan Bowman is expected back with the team today. He spent several days in the hospital with a partially collapsed lung from last Saturday's game against West Virginia. From the NBA, Mavericks center DeAndre Jordan is not with the team on its trip to China after a death in his family. Harrison Barnes also not on the trip for Dallas with a hamstring injury.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Do not, I should say, forget about my friends at College Town. Madso Burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof ales, plus order of wings that you split with a buddy, all for $40. That's cheap. That's good stuff. That's a lot of bang for your buck on Thursdays at Madison Social. Also at Township, because you get $2 tacos and you get 50% off select pizzas all day every Thursday at Centrale as well.
Fix me something to eat.
No hassle. Parking is solved. It's free. Great food and service. Visit ThursdaysInCollegetown.com. Hey, today's Thursday. Maybe you'll make a trip over to College Town and see what I'm talking about. You're supposed to say that's eating good in the neighborhood.
You remember Sexist Trivia?
Oh, it was my favorite.
Eating good
in the neighborhood. Oh. Yeah, we had a blast with that. 20 years from now, Tom, when we're talking about the best offensive line class ever signed in 2019, 2020, revamping the program for years to come, leading to another couple national championships. We should be playing clips that sound like this.
So when you were a Florida State, who did you have to beat off to get that guy over in Tallahassee?
I miss you, Jim Lamar. And I was just thinking about you as I listened to that clip during the break.
So when you were a Florida State, who did you have to beat off to get that guy over in Tallahassee?
Never gets old. Never gets old. It's the clip that keeps on giving.
So when you were a Florida State, who did you have to beat off to get that guy over in Tallahassee?
Well, actually, Mickey Andrews.
You behind the controls, hungover, sweating, staring down at the board, trying to keep from laughing for the next half hour.
The only difference was I wasn't sweating because in that studio, my side
was ice cold.
was 50 degrees.
I was sweating like a pig anytime I was on the other side.
I have to pay my penance. It's stupid. This is really stupid. But, yes, I ducked behind the computer, and I kept a straight face. And I let the proceedings continue.
You just could not. You couldn't. It was it. You couldn't look eye to eye.
At the time, I didn't want to undercut the interview because if we start laughing, I don't know if the guest is going to be, understanding what just happened. And it wasn't live or anything, but still. And then as the day went on, I thought, man, I got some gold here, man.
Well, what you can hear there is clearly he does recognize what was just asked of him and the misstep and just has to gather himself.
So when you were a Florida State, who did you have to beat off to get that guy over in Tallahassee?
Well, actually, Mickey Andrews.
That pause is my favorite part because he's like, oh, well, actually, Mickey Andrews. I didn't know that's how we did things around here in recruiting. Well, it is. And I'm waiting. We really like Derek Brooks, but I mean, sir. Well.
Abort.
This is not the kind of, where are we going in the world of recruiting? I think you know.
Fix me something to eat.
All right, last one, do it. I got to hear it.
So when you were a Florida State, who did you have to beat off to get that guy over in Tallahassee?
Well,
do you mean pay? Who did I have to pay?
Sure, you can call it payment. It's a little bit like it's a little bit like South Park. I know it, but I'm not so sure I should say it. Mickey Andrews. It's almost.
If that's what it takes to get this offensive line,
we're gonna
just keep some notes.
Oh, this is a toughie. I don't know where to go with that.
How does compliance deal with something like this?
Is this official, or is this just you and me in an office? What's going on here? Oh my goodness. Oh, let's read some tweets before we get in trouble. At Jay Cameron Show, at _Tom Lang. Fact check, fellas. Saw an article today. Taggart has only 12 wins against teams finishing above 500 in his career, with 2 against FCS schools and only 1 ever beaten ranked team, Navy. Does that add up? Well, when you start at Western Kentucky, I don't imagine you're winning a whole lot of games against ranked teams, so all of your wins at Western Kentucky would be against teams that were not very good, I would think, especially when you're building a program, one that had lost 20 straight when you took over.
That's a problem.
And then when you get to USF, not the toughest schedule in the world, and you start out taking over for a program that had been dreadful, and you don't have much success your first 2 years. Now, the last 20 games that he coached at USF, he won 17 of them. And they went on a huge run there. And I would have thought there may have been some more quality wins. When you win 17 out of 20 at a place like USF, you would have won some. But remember this, if you're USF and you're, a 9-win team or a 10-win team maybe in a given year, you're probably only facing 3 ranked teams in a season. You go 1-2 against teams ranked higher than you, where you're not even predicted to win.
You're not going to beat us when we're ranked in 2016.
Yeah, so
I think we were ranked at that time. Maybe we weren't actually at that point.
But I'm saying you're not going to get a lot. I mean, we would have been over 500, but you're not going to get a lot of wins against good teams because you're not a power.
I think that was on the heels of the Louisville loss, so maybe we were unranked.
Oh, the 60-some-odd points we gave up?
Yeah, because, remember we
gave up a touchdown on the first play from scrimmage.
Yeah, then we answered with one.
Yes.
Oddly enough.
Yes. That was a weird ass.
Well, then we're way up, and we let them back in the game a little bit there in the fourth quarter.
I was never
Not
worried,
really.
but yeah.
Well, Jimbo was in the post-game locker room. That's the famous one with the kid behind him staring at the ground. My God, this guy is crazy.
Jimbo had a rough week this week because he did not handle, once again, a very simple, straightforward question all that well in his efforts to manipulate and to deflect. He just didn't own the fact that he grabbed that kid's face mask and jerked it. That's what he did. He grabbed his face mask, moved it back and forth, and look, the kid came out publicly and said he was okay with it, that he's with Jimbo, and he understood why Jimbo did it. But that doesn't mean you can't answer the question, or it doesn't mean that you should have done it. I said on headlines that, when I coached 12-year-olds here in Tallahassee for the city, I admitted to grabbing a kid's face mask. I didn't jerk it back and forth, but it was a defensive lineman who stood up after all week long me telling him you can't stand up when you're making a tackle, you're going to get trucked. He got trucked in the first quarter because he stood up. When he came to the sideline, I pulled him to me by his face mask. I didn't jerk it around, and I said in a voice that only he could hear, "That's why I said to you all week long." And then I said some other things. And the point of that is to say this. He went back out later on and made a great tackle and stayed down, stayed low. And when he came over, I grabbed his face mask again, this time to tell him, that's what I'm talking about. I knew you could do that. Coaches do grab face masks. It's a matter of jerking it back and forth violently and or just having somebody's undivided attention. It's a different deal. And it's also a different day and age. I did that in 1996, 97. I don't know that I would feel compelled to do that now for 2 reasons. A, I'm older, wiser. B, the climate's changed. It's not acceptable. It's not considered okay anymore.
I remember in 2013, Jimbo did that to Jameis because Jameis brushed him off as he walked off the field.
That's
it was
correct.
The super spinny play that he made to O'Leary in the back of the end zone. We were playing some also ran. Although what team wasn't that year? But it was, I think it was non-Power 5.
Yeah, he was mad, and Jameis ignored him.
Jameis ignored him, and he did, I do believe, brush his hand
Kinda
away.
like that, yeah. He went like
and
that.
then Jimbo got his face mask and brought him back in real quick.
I got no problem with that.
Well, if the quarterback is ignoring you, even if you're crazy as a coach, I mean, hey, man.
We're not doing that.
I can't let that be seen.
No. Well,
no, sir.
Here's the thing. My point of all of this is this. Whether you think he should grab the face mask or not depends probably based on your age.
100%.
When you grew up playing. I mean, I think that's what that is. But let me also, because I've had my face mask grabbed, and it's not particularly pleasant. But here's the deal. There is a difference between shaking a guy's head back and forth and just pulling a guy towards you. I got no problem with pulling a guy towards you to get his undivided attention. I got a real problem with shaking it back and forth. There's no reason. That's violence. There's no reason for that. But here's what you can't do, whether you're for it, against it, think it's nothing, think it's serious. You can't try to deflect from what we saw to be true. And that's a bad habit of his. I didn't jerk his face mask. Yes, you did. We saw you do it.
Yes, you did.
It's not, I mean, look, it's not 4th and 3, Jimbo. It's 4th and 1. We watched the game. I saw it. I was there. It's on film. Don't tell me it's 4th and 7 when it's 4th and 1. It's 4th and 1. And, that just makes you look, A, it's insulting to the audience, to the fans, to the person you're talking to anybody with a brain. But B, it just makes you look worse. If you come in there afterwards and they ask you that question and you say, my frustration's got the best of me there. I probably shouldn't have done that. I've talked to the young man about it. We're okay. Everything's all right. But I was really worried he was going to get kicked out of the game. We need him. I expressed that to him. Shouldn't have jerked the helmet. I apologize. Won't happen again. Then we're not even nobody's even carrying on with this conversation. Yep. It's over with.
I think he'd rather have games closed to the public. I really believe that. I think he'd prefer it. For all the garbage this causes me, the headaches this causes me, you know what? Atmosphere, no atmosphere. We should just play this game in private.
You create that for yourself when you imagine scenarios and devils and people out to get you, and that when you live your life that way, where you're paranoid about everything, then you create this environment for yourself in which you believe that you need to be removed from those that are not part of the program, or removed from those that don't understand your day-to-day operation, removed from the intensity of your job and the pressures of that job. Because you have in your mind this idea that everybody around every turn is out to get you, that they hate you, that they have a problem with you because you're a football coach, or you're, from West Virginia, or you're loud, or you talk too fast, or whatever it might be. But that's not the case. People don't. He gets so wrapped up in his own little world that he believes it's everybody's world, but it's not. It's his. Just say what happened. That you get in more trouble when you try to lie for what was plainly obvious.
If he just had a simple rule, every time I feel paranoid, I go look at offensive line film in high school, we'd be in a much better place.
Final hour forthcoming. Stay with. Samantha and Jesse bought their Tallahassee home with Joe Manassa Real Estate. When Jesse accepted a new job in Ohio, they once again turned to Joe. But this time they needed to get 2 homes sold, their personal house and a rental property they owned. Their rental went under contract and sold in a matter of days, and their personal residence is currently under contract with a Joe Manassa Real Estate buyer. Now Samantha and Jesse can move on to the next chapter of their lives without being tied down to their Tallahassee properties. Did you have your house for sale this last year and it didn't sell? Joe helps people like you all the time. Joe guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll have it bought for cash. Call Joe to find out more about this phenomenal program. Not only that, working with Joe doesn't obligate you to anything. If he isn't doing his job, he'll let you out of the contract free and clear. But don't worry, that never happens because Joe sells homes quickly and for top dollar. Call Joe Manassa today at 850-888-0888. That's 850-888-0888. Or online at manassa.com. That's MANAUSA.com. And start packing.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
Looking for a new place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill with 3 locations to choose from. Just show them your stub. That's right, your ticket stub from any local sporting event for $1 pints and $3 crafts. BOGO Mondays every Monday with 50% off specials. Like or follow on Facebook to get all the details. PS4 tourneys, trivia, karaoke, darts, and more. Lots of daily lunch specials under $8. Happy hour specials daily and happy hour all day on Friday. The Hobbit American Grill.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right, more watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio. WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The National League Division Series gets started today in Milwaukee. The Brewers host the Rockies. It's a bullpen day for the Brewers. Brandon Woodruff gets the start. He started only 4 games this season, Antonio Senzatella starts for Colorado. That game at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. To be followed by Game 1 for the Braves and Dodgers in Los Angeles. Every game of the baseball postseason is on ESPN Radio. In the NFL, Week 5 kicks off tonight in Foxborough. The Patriots host the Colts. New England gets wideout Julian Edelman back from a 4-game suspension, and tight end Rob Gronkowski is expected to play, says ESPN's Adam Schefter. Many defensive players around the league are still confused about what is an illegal hit, especially against the quarterback. ESPN's Bill Polian.
As we will see as time goes by, there is a way to tackle them that's legal, that will, and if the officials see the whole play and don't react to the severity of the hit,
exactly,
it'll straighten out over time. Keep this in mind. It takes 2 years for any rule change or point of emphasis to really seep through the whole system and become part of the ecosystem of the league. We're only a quarter of this year into it.
Bill Polian on Golic and Wingo. Texas Tech quarterback Alan Bowman is expected back with the team today. He spent several days in the hospital with a partially collapsed lung from last Saturday's game against West Virginia. From the NBA, Mavericks center DeAndre Jordan is not with the team on its trip to China after a death in his family. Harrison Barnes also not on the trip for Dallas with a hamstring injury.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We are online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live, either streaming free, always. And why did they think New England and Indianapolis was going to be good? Like, how would you have, there's no way you would have guessed it that, under no circumstances would you thought that'd be a good game.
Sometimes you got to punt on, you can't have all good games, and you just hope that 2 premier quarterbacks, I'm sure they were banking on Andrew Luck being available, that would be enough.
Yeah. I'm not keen on giving 10.5 points in an NFL football game typically. And for the obvious reasons. For example, Minnesota was favored by 17.5 over Buffalo, and not only didn't cover, they got their ass kicked. So the league is weird. But I'm giving all 10 of those tonight. I don't think Indianapolis is going to compete here. Now, it is a Thursday, and weird things happen on a Thursday. I'll grant you that. So the football game is not. Who's the college game? What do we get? Do we have a college game today?
I don't know that we have a college game.
Haven't we started that yet? We're halfway through the
Well,
damn
we had
season.
Miami, North Carolina last week.
Yeah, it was garbage. So we have to have a college game, don't we?
We've had better Friday games so far this season than we've had Thursday games. But, if New England's 3-1 in this game, I'm with you on the, stay away from it. But the fact that they're chasing.
No, they have to catch up.
That the Patriots
they
have to
win.
chase. They have to win. Yeah, that's not good news.
That's why I did it. That's why I, picked the game. But I thought it's just, I don't know. Listen, I'm more inclined. And by the way, right now, you've got Colorado and Milwaukee getting it on here in 3 minutes. We got the start of the, playoffs there, and tonight with the Braves, Atlanta, and the Dodgers. I'm much more inclined to watch me some great playoff baseball tonight. And, listen, you guys over the years recognize that I have talked about my frustrations with the Atlanta Braves. They have caused me heartache as a Pirate fan, not once but twice in the postseason, and it's hard to shake that. But I rather like this bunch. I do. I think it's a likable team that plays the game in a fun way. A lot of really young talent that's enjoyable to watch. And, I got no love lost for the Dodgers. So, all right, Bravos, I got you.
The Braves, this team is absolutely likable.
Very much so.
It's a good story this year because, obviously, it makes the Nationals look all the worse that they can't get the job done ever. They can never close the deal, and this year is a new level of embarrassment for that franchise, which is fantastic. But now the Braves are in the postseason, so the laundry they wear does matter greatly. So screw them. How about a sweepy for the Dodgers?
You want the Dodgers?
Yeah. The Dodgers, to me, are nothing. They're meh.
The Dodgers. They were just in the World Series. We don't need them.
They're like the Bears. For me, the Bears in the NFL, whatever.
Well,
whatever they do, whatever they don't do, that's fine.
But in the sense that they're both all-time traditional franchises. Like the Bears are a cornerstone of the NFL, along with Green Bay and Pittsburgh and Dallas, right? I mean, and the Dodgers are certainly that way as well. All-time great team. So they're always on your radar. I heard them talking about baseball today on Dan Le Batard's show, and he was talking about the ability to make mistakes. And we've always known this, that your rich clubs like the Yankees can swing and miss. They can bring in a guy, and if it doesn't work out and they paid him a lot of money, it doesn't cripple them. Whereas, other franchises like the A's, whom they vanquished last night, if they swing and miss and bring in a guy, they can't correct their mistakes by throwing more money at the problem. And they were bringing this up in the way of talking about the Cubs and how Jason Hayward is useless. And they were depending on him and he's not useless because he's really good defensively, but he is useless offensively.
Were you stunned that they brought him in with the bases loaded versus Schwarber in that moment? I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
I don't care what the numbers say, just career moments and who those players are in a given moment like that. As long as Schwarber's not hitting 130 for the year, I'm probably going to Kyle Schwarber over Jason Hayward in that moment.
The pitch he struck out on was nasty.
It was
a filthy pitch. I don't think either one of them would have hit it, but
would it get to that point though? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was an interesting inning, but all of that said, it was weird to have the conversation post that game, and I like to make fun of the Cubs as much as anybody. And again, I pointed out they won as many playoff games this year and divisions as the Pittsburgh Pirates. But the point of that was to say that they were legitimately talking about Joe Madden maybe not returning. Well, that seems rather absurd. I mean, what are we doing here? They won 95 games. They just won the World Series 2 years ago. They've won 90-plus. I mean, what are they?
Kind of in spite of him, and
well,
that's important.
That World Series was in spite of him. You're right. He managed poorly in the World Series, and they overcame his mismanagement, which was bizarre because I actually think he's a good manager. That was weird. He felt the pressure of 108 years or whatever.
My friends from the Rays, they'd say, "Listen, this is what happens with him in tight moments. He makes decisions, and you go, you've done it this way all year, and now you're going to abandon your principles in the heat of the moment. That's not cool."
Well, he tried to overuse his closer, and
last year you had 3 managers who made the postseason get fired. So, I mean, it's not without precedent here.
Well, sure. We just had one get fired yesterday. Obviously, we were talking about that in Minnesota. And after overachieving, had this crazy season, and then
1 year. But it was 1 year. I mean, they didn't make the postseason this year. But last year you had New York, Boston, and the third team escapes me in the moment. But you had 3 teams fire their managers after making the playoffs. So, I mean, it's
not
the new way of doing things.
Right. Well, and if you're going to spend $200+ million and have a loaded team. Look, I think what we've learned about managers is that they get way too much credit for things that just any old knowledgeable baseball guy can do. I mean, I recognize matchup baseball. We all do. If you pay attention to the sport, it's not hard to figure out when to go get the lefty. It's you get it here. Now, I will say that the back and forth between the Cubs and the Rockies the other night was really good because both starting pitchers were so good. So because you're in the National League, when their spots are rolling over in a 1-run game or a tie game, you have real decisions to make about when you're coming off the bench, and that kind of stuff was awfully fascinating. They were playing tit for tat the other night where they had to look ahead 2 and 3 innings.
Yeah, obviously they manufacture a Game 7 type atmosphere with the way the wild card is set up. To me, there's nothing better than an elimination game. Doesn't have to be a Game 7, but an elimination game in baseball and a couple of aces are going. That's the postseason kind of atmosphere because you get in a rhythm. Those games typically follow a rhythm. Both guys are going, and it's a chicken fight. Who's going to break first? Who's going to give up that first run? And every run means so much. It's harder for me to emote for games 1 and 2 of an NLDS while somebody's trying to build something, or games 1 and 2 of a pennant series. Unless it's your team, I expect Kershaw or Ryu tonight for the Braves to throw well. I would think that Foltynewicz is going to have a good night for the Braves tonight. That's just, that's fine. But he gets to games 4 and 5, and now the decisions matter greatly. And if you have 2 on with nobody out in the 5th inning, but it's your ace, what do? I love it. That's when the meat grinder really gets turned on the coaches.
Well, and it's also when I forgive coaches who decide to stick with a guy in the scenario you just laid out. I mean, if his pitch count's low and he really hasn't struggled to get to the 5th, and this is his first bout of trouble, depends on how hard the balls were hit. Depends on if they were walks. Depends on if he's
pitch walk in there.
Yeah, is he up? Yeah, is he missing up, flying open, losing? Yeah, okay, I got you. If there are signs of getting tired, then that's one thing. But if there's 1 out and 2 on, and he's pitching well, and you've known this guy all year to be a guy that gets out of these kinds of problems because he's got that kind of stuff, and he gives up a bloop that falls between 3 people and a run scores, and it's the run that costs you the game, they'll get lampooned, and it's just wrong. That's just baseball. It can happen.
But what if it's your ace and he's turned in 3 or 4 performances that season where he has this B- stuff, and he still gets you through 6 and he gives up a run or 2, and he's struggling. And like DeGrom, it's an easy example because I watched this one, but DeGrom in Game 5 in the DS in 2015, he didn't have his best stuff. There were base runners all over in the beginning of the game, and he just kind of found a way. You're making a choice. Are you going to abandon that, and now I need to get 7 innings out of my bullpen?
Well, certainly a lot easier if you had the Yankees bullpen from a year ago, 2 years ago. I mean, when you look at that bullpen, you're like, well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go 6 innings of bullpen baseball tonight, especially since it's a 1-game winner-take-all.
8 2/3 last year in the wild card game that we noted yesterday.
Had to do it, had to do it. Redemption Thursday wagers are up. They look like this. Utah State getting 2.5 against BYU. Georgia Tech giving 4.5 against Louisville. I don't think Louisville's going to show up. Texas plus 8 against Oklahoma. Rivalry game there. I think it stays to under a touchdown. Ball State getting 3 against Northern Illinois. I like Ball State to win outright. Clemson minus 19 against Wake. That's a Tom Lang special. Notre Dame minus 5.5 against Virginia Tech. I don't think Vol Tech bounces back 2 weeks in a row. Miami minus 13.5 against FSU. Listen, much to my chagrin, right? Arizona State plus 2.5 against Colorado, and Mississippi State plus 4 against Auburn with an upset special there. New England tonight giving 10.5 to the Colts. I'll give all 10.5. Could come back to haunt me. I could see some 31-21 action here and be pretty frustrated.
I feel like you're putting the whammy on that Clemson pick.
I'm just putting the responsibility on your back, pal,
right.
Because I only chose that game because I liked your logic. You laid it out there before me earlier in the week, and I thought, yeah, Tom's right. That's a good pick, Tom. I'm with you. They're going to show and prove this weekend.
But if it doesn't happen, it's no longer a good pick, and I get all the blame.
Well, that's how those picks go.
Yeah.
I miss some too occasionally. It's what you do when you take a risk on betting in any sport. You're going to get some wrong. I get them wrong. I get them right, too. And you just hope by the end of the year you get more right than you get wrong.
Sometimes you pick Pitt over UCF. You just never know.
Imagine that. That is crazy. My Georgia State pick was good. By the way, I did not take Pitt over UCF. That's a shot at somebody else, a friend of the program. Good song. Craig it.
With football season in full swing, don't forget about fishing our local waterways after the games. Fish are still biting regardless of the score. Sea Quarters Marina, Carabel, Florida. Open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The marina has a ship store, which includes fuel, bait, tackle, ice, and all of your fishing supplies for the trip. Both diesel and non-ethanol fuel is available. Free Wi-Fi and pump out with boat slip rental. Sea Quarters Marina, 501 St. James Avenue, Carabel, Florida, 697-8400. Visit them online at seaquartersmarina.com.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary. Get your history lesson weekdays at 5:30 during the Jeff Cameron Show, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to Ask the Doc from the Rug Doctor Institute of Clean. Next caller.
Hi, Doc. I just got an estimate from a carpet cleaning service, and apparently it includes cleaning out my wallet.
Their $99 special turned into $299.
Exactly.
That's bad math, but I have good news. Rent a Rug Doctor today at your local supermarket and deep clean your home for a fraction of what it costs to hire the pros, starting at $29.99 a day.
Thanks, Doc.
Rug Doctor today for a cleaner tomorrow.
Makita cordless specials are heating up at Cornerstone Tool and Fastener in October. Buy a Makita brushless premium 5-amp-hour kit with 2 batteries and get a 6-amp-hour battery free. Plus, get your choice of the following: brushless recip saw, circular saw, half-inch impact drill, or a Bluetooth radio. Get rid of the gas with the Makita outdoor power equipment. Buy a brushless chainsaw or blower kit and receive 4 5-amp-hour batteries and a dual bay chamber. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener with 2 locations to choose from: 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays 8 until noon.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shops work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050.
You know what? It's time you level up your lemon lime with clear, refreshing Mountain Dew Ice. We get it. You're used to a certain kind of lemon lime experience. But why settle for this when you could have this? You want a fist bump that ends in one of those fake explosions?
Hey, Charles.
Or a fist bump that ends in an actual explosion?
Hey, Charles.
Want to pull up to the party on this? Or arrive in this? Take this last second shot? Or make the last second shot? Make this musical request? Or this one? So yeah, you can keep drinking the same old, but we think you'll like the exploding fist bump last second shot showing up to the party properly way to lemon lime, right? Mountain Dew Ice. Clear, refreshing lemon lime, redefined.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Hey, sports fans, who's on your Mount Rushmore of baseball? I'm going with Ruth, Cobb, Aaron, and Mantle. Football, I've got Bradshaw, Peyton, Montana, and Brady. In basketball, Jabbar, Jordan, Bird, and LeBron. This debate could go on and on, but when it comes to the Mount Rushmore of personal injury law in Tallahassee, the choice is clear. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey. Recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm, so avoid the underdog and go with the favorite. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey.
If you want to be absolutely sure you have the right paint color, order paint samples from HomeDepot.com. They're little 8-ounce jars of confidence. You can get more colors and sheens than at any other store. Even better, they all come with free shipping every day. So you'll not only get the color right, you'll also get the color right to your door. Shipped for free. Get free shipping on paint samples and peace of mind on your next paint project. Only from the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Online samples only.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Old Stones reminds me of something I forgot to mention last week. Did you? You probably didn't. I understand why. But Marty Ballin from Jefferson Airplane, the original Jefferson Airplane before they went on to become a really bad band named Jefferson Starship, passed away in Tampa. I didn't know he was in Tampa. I also didn't know that he loved St. Augustine, and I didn't know any of those things. But I do know that if you have no idea about Marty Ballin's talents as a singer and as a writer, go check out Jefferson Airplane's 1967 song, Coming Back to Me. It's one of my all-time favorites. It's written and sung by Marty Ballin, and it's really, 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 really good. So it'd be, we talk about music a lot on the show. I figured I should at least mention his passing. He was a talented musician and had an interesting life.
Was it Coming Back to Me? Is that what you said?
Coming Back to Me, yeah.
All right.
Really good song. He died just like I said last week, and I failed to mention he was in Jefferson Airplane. He was in Hot Tuna before that, and way back in the day. And
that's a band name.
Jeez. Yeah, come on, man. We're gonna just keep going. He was 76 years old. I would have liked the opportunity to have talked to Marty Ballin because Mr. Ballin, who lived in Tampa, was all part of the Beatnik thing and was out in San Francisco at a time that it would have been pretty damn cool to be out in San Francisco. That would have been, you saw some of the the great writers and poets and musicians and artists of our time, and he was there surrounded by all of it in 1960s San Fran.
They had some serious issues in San Francisco at the time there with poverty, though, even then, right? Gentrification and all that kind of stuff.
Back then, less gentrification, but yes, San Francisco in the 60s, Haight-Ashbury and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was poverty, but the hippies liked it that way.
Yeah,
they were having a good time.
Volkswagens and stuff, yeah.
And stuff like weed.
And among other things.
Amongst other things. Psychedelics, flowers. Okay, yeah. Jags cornerback Jalen Ramsey. Sassy. Doesn't view Sunday's game against the Kansas City Chiefs as a chance to match up against Tyreek Hill.
You sassy bitch.
I don't like how whoever has made it a matchup, me against Tyreek. Now, that's not grammatically correct, but that's what he said. And
You sassy bitch.
He went on to say he's good for what he does for their team. He's a return specialist. He's good. Oh, Sassy was ready to go.
They're not going to put him in lockdown man coverage, though, are they?
Quote, he made the All-Pro team as a return specialist. So let's make sure we get that right. He is just a return specialist.
You sassy bitch.
He went to 2 Pro Bowls, I think, as a return specialist, said Ramsey. 2 times. I made All-Pro in my position, as a corner. Went to the Pro Bowl as a corner. So it's not necessarily a matchup of a corner versus a great wide receiver. We can get that out of the way right now. He's a return specialist, and I'm a corner.
Well, now you're not just... Man, you're ignoring facts, Jalen. That's ridiculous.
He goes on to say, I just wish he would have picked a side, Either I'm just all right or I'm the top dog. Pick a side. If I'm the top dog but I'm just all right, that means he doesn't think that any corner in the league is any good. And that's simply not true.
What?
Yeah, because Hill said that he was all right, beating Jalen Ramsey. Then later on said, you want to go against the top dog.
I see now. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So it goes on to say all of that. By the way, he has 4 punt returns and 1 kickoff return for a touchdown in his career, leads the NFL in punt return average in 2018. He's also led the NFL in punt return average as a rookie. But he has made 159 catches for 2,140 yards and 16 touchdowns, including 7 of 50 or more yards the last couple of years. So he's a receiver, Jalen.
Yeah,
a really good one.
The last time they matched up in 2014, we were there, Arlington, Texas. It was Tyreek Hill, 8 carries for 44 yards. He also had 6 catches for 62 yards, and he had 2 punt returns for 32 yards.
Well, I remember leaving the Jerry's World and saying, who the hell is that dude?
6 kickoff returns for 140 yards, including a 46-yard return as well. So he was all over the field. And didn't Jimbo flip out during that game about Tyreek Hill?
He did, and he told me afterwards when I asked Jimbo about Tyreek Hill that they had heavily recruited him. He didn't have the grades, and I'm not trying to dog the kid. He didn't have the grades to get into school, and he had to go a different route, and then he was able to get eventually to Oklahoma State, and it was something to do with they missed out on their opportunity with him coming out of school. He had some problems off the field. He struggled in the classroom.
They continued.
Yes, he struggled in the classroom, and then at some point they had to wash their hands of the kid. But he was on their radar because I said, how is it that nobody knew about Tyreek Hill? That guy was a one-man wrecking crew and was really solely the reason they got back in the game against us. And he said, we knew about him. We tried to get him here, but it proved to be difficult. He couldn't get into school, and he had some problems, and eventually we had to go a different route. So he knew about him. Tyreek Hill's been an impact player in the league. There's no doubt about that. And that matchup actually is good. It won't always be Jalen on him, though, so it will be fascinating to see. Kansas City's got weapons, man. That's a fun team to watch.
That's a great matchup. That's really, as good as it gets in October for the NFL right there. Great offense, great defense.
I agree. Kind of cool, by the way. Did you see this story out of the 7-2 loss Oakland suffered in the AL wildcard game against the Yankees? If you watched that last night, after loyal Oakland fan John Spencer was caught on video being doused by Yankee fans with beer. Just dude sitting there in an Oakland shirt. He's an older gentleman, and they're just dumping beer on him. And the A's said they wanted to make it right. They sent out a picture, a still photo from the TV coverage of him being doused, and said, we want to thank him for being such a loyal fan and supporting us on the road. And he kept his cool, and they wanted to thank him for keeping his cool and representing Oakland in the right way. And they wanted to find a way to make it right for them. They want to get him some gear, as they said, to replace the gear that now smells like beer thanks to Yankee fans.
That's well done.
That's
how you handle that situation.
That is really well done.
Not excusing Yankee fans in any way, shape, or form. Not doing that. But at least they didn't kill him in the parking lot, because those Dodgers, San Francisco Giants wars, those things are crazy.
Yeah, they beat a man half to death, right? Yeah.
Well, on the regular, there's beatings with Dodgers fans. That happens a lot. Be careful, Braves fans, if you're out over there.
Less than an hour later, they found the gentleman, who he was. He's an Oakland native and lives in New York City. And he was wearing an Eric Chavez jersey.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, how about that?
Eric Chavez.
Yeah, you forgot about him, right? He did go on to say, did the gentleman, hey, there were plenty of good Yankee fans there, just not the ones who dumped the beer.
Probably from Staten Island.
But he went on to say via Twitter, either way, ride or die with the A's for life. Thanks. And then the A's knew who he was, and they're sending him gear. I think if you're the Yankees as an organization, it's not your fault necessarily, of course, but you're mortified by that. You're just mortified.
You probably want to put that guy up in a suite for the series when the A's come to town next year.
I was going to say,
and publicize it.
Yeah, I would do that, and I would find the people who dumped the beer on him and be like, you're not welcome back, man. What are we doing here? What the hell's wrong with you? I mean, you cringe if you're at a Bucks game or any game. If you're at a Florida State game and you see fans acting unruly to other teams' fans.
Like your own kind.
Yeah.
Like stepping out.
Yeah, you always, come on, guys. What are we doing here, man? It's freaking football, or in this case, baseball. What are we doing?
I saw things in the end zone bathroom at Raymond James Stadium that I'll never unsee.
Man, Tampa Bay is where you go when you want to see the kind of cringe-worthy behavior that we're talking about, especially the end zones. Not the 50s, not the 30s.
No. The Green Bay-Tampa Bay rivalry was at a fever pitch, but there's still things you don't do.
Horrible things. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Through an open window where no curtain hung.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shops work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050.
Makita cordless specials are heating up at Cornerstone Tool and Fastener in October. Buy a Makita brushless premium 5 amp hour kit with 2 batteries and get a 6 amp hour battery free. Plus, get your choice of the following: brushless recip saw, circular saw, half-inch impact drill, or a Bluetooth radio. Get rid of the gas with the Makita outdoor power equipment. Buy a brushless chainsaw or blower kit and receive 4 5 amp hour batteries and a dual bay chamber. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener with 2 locations to choose from: 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays 8 until noon.
Time now for your Atlanta Braves Minute. Brought to you by Fonville, Lewis, Messer, and McConaughey. Personal injury law is all they do.
Tonight from Dodger Stadium, it's the Braves and the Dodgers in Game 1 of the National League Division Series. The Braves champions of the East, Dodgers champions of the West, and they will collide in Game 1 from Dodger Stadium tonight. Braves will be handing the ball to Mike Foltynewicz as he makes his first postseason start. Foltynewicz is a guy that finished the season extremely strong, 13-10 this season with a sub-3 ERA. He faced the Dodgers once this year. That was in July. Lost that ball game to Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers. Initially, we thought that he would be taking on Kershaw in Game 1, but the Dodgers decided to flip-flop their Game 1 and 2 starters, and Hyunjin Ryu, the left-hander from Korea, will get the ball for the Dodgers. He finished the season strong. In his last 3 starts, he gave up 1 earned run in his final 19 innings of the year, and he'll be going on normal rest. This will be the 3rd time the Braves and the Dodgers have squared off in the postseason. In 1996, the Braves swept the Dodgers in the National League Division Series, and in 2013, the Dodgers won 4 over the Braves in the NLDS. First pitch at 8:37 Eastern, 7:37 Central. I'm Ben Ingram, and this has been your Atlanta Braves Radio Network update.
Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right, more watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This day in sports history. October 4th, 1955. The Brooklyn Dodgers win their first World Series at last, beating the New York Yankees 2-0 in Game 7. Leading up to the 1955 season, the Dodgers had already lost the championship 7 times, with 5 coming to the hated Yankees. The 1955 series turned out to be the only one that the Brooklyn Dodgers would ever win.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The National League Division Series gets started today in Milwaukee. The Brewers host the Rockies. It's a bullpen day for the Brewers. Brandon Woodruff gets the start. He started only 4 games this season. Antonio Senzatella starts for Colorado. That game at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. To be followed by Game 1 for the Braves and Dodgers in Los Angeles. Every game of the baseball postseason is on ESPN Radio. In the NFL, Week 5 kicks off tonight in Foxborough. The Patriots host the Colts. New England gets wideout Julian Edelman back from a 4-game suspension, and tight end Rob Gronkowski is expected to play, says ESPN's Adam Schefter. Many defensive players around the league are still confused about what is an illegal hit, especially against the quarterback. ESPN's Bill Polian.
As we will see as time goes by, there is a way to tackle them that's legal, that will, and if the officials see the whole play and don't react to the severity of the hit,
exactly,
it'll straighten out over time. Keep this in mind. It takes 2 years for any rule change or point of emphasis to really seep through the whole system and become part of the ecosystem of the league. We're only a quarter of this year into it.
Bill Polian on Golic and Wingo. Texas Tech quarterback Alan Bowman is expected back with the team today. He spent several days in the hospital with a partially collapsed lung from last Saturday's game against West Virginia. From the NBA, Mavericks center DeAndre Jordan is not with the team on its trip to China after a death in his family. Harrison Barnes also not on the trip for Dallas with a hamstring injury.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Let's hear the audio from Willie Taggart earlier today talking about the offensive line situation. It matters. It is, the lone sort of small percentage chance that we have to compete in this game would be say if Landon Dickerson were to play.
Are you expecting to have Landon and Derek available Saturday?
It's a possibility. They keep coming along, getting better. Feel really good about Derek and Landon. Not sure.
Was it like did he re-aggravate something possibly?
Yeah, he re-aggravated his ankle again. But he's a tough kid and loves to play and did a good job for us. And so if there was anybody else, I'd probably say no. But when it's Landon, you can't ever count him out.
Tough kid, but that doesn't sound like a kid that's about to play in this game. Could be wrong, though. They're holding out hope, obviously. It looks like he had and I don't know specifics, and I'm only speculating here to some degree, but it certainly seems like he had a bit of a procedure. It re-aggravated something there. And, a lot of times, I don't know what specifically was done, but a lot of times that's like, you get stitches removed or you drain something or something along those lines, Again, I'm not saying he has stitches. I don't know, but it does sound like they're holding their breath in hopes that the outside chance that he can overcome whatever that is will be such that maybe it's a pain tolerance issue. Because if it's structural, they're not going to do it.
Of course not.
So this would be sort of something along those lines, I would guess.
I guess so, but I mean, even then, he has to be able to go through warm-ups and be active and ready to go.
Yeah,
I don't think
effective, right.
He might even dress on Saturday, and you're getting reports from the beat that say he's, on the field. But you have to be in football shape, too. He hasn't practiced this week. So how exactly are you going to be ready to go for a rivalry game? The good news is you can air it out, so to speak, if you're able to go, because we have a bye week, and rest up and do what you need to do from here on out. But I can't imagine conditioning-wise, that's got to be a really tall task, especially for a tackle. You're going against some high-caliber athletes with no preparation time. That's a big ask. That's a really big ask.
It's a very big ask, and it does, it does suggest that he's not going to play. And I just, look, I've been doom and gloom all week, and it just gets tougher and tougher and tougher the more you realize that you're not equipped to fight. And they'll fight. These kids got pride, and a lot of them know each other, and that comes out in rivalry games, as we've talked about. And maybe you get a real gallant effort. I would think all of that's going to be true, but sometimes all of that really adds up to not a whole lot in the way of the score because you don't have the ability to block the other team. And that's why I've been so down on this team this week as far as chances go to win. I thought it was absolutely critical that they win that game at Louisville. And I thought that for a lot of reasons, but one of which was I knew in my mind they weren't going to win this game. So I wanted to get to a place where going into the bye week, all hope was not lost for something that is meaningful to the fan base, and that is the bowl streak or the consecutive years with a non-losing record. So I thought, okay, if you can get to 3-3 by the bye, you come off of that, you get healed up, you get a little healthier, and you host Wake. You can get out in front of this thing yet again. You can get to 4-3. At that point, Tom, you're talking about going from – so the week before the Louisville game, we were having this discussion. You're at the end of September. That win, if it plays out the way that I think it might play out, in essence got you all the way to the NC State away game in November. That win over Louisville gets you to November if you beat Wake at home. But I'm just trying to figure out a path to being bowl eligible.
You got to answer the bell against Wake, though, which is no sure thing.
It's not, but you're going to be favored against Wake, and you're at home, and I think there's a chance you beat Wake. So, again, my point, making certain assumptions that may or may not be true, but I feel pretty confident. Look, beat Louisville is what I said, and all of a sudden you're playing meaningful football games, engaged, focused in, locked into in November. That matters.
Well, you mentioned something, I think it was the first hour, regarding Landon Dickerson, and that is that originally you were thinking doom and gloom, not just for this week, but beyond for the season.
Yeah, well, so, when you do this job for a living, and if you're on the beat and you cover this team, everybody gets sources. Everybody reaches out to people and figures out certain things to help lend context to either a story or, in my case, the daily conversations that we have on the Jeff Cameron Show. And so some of those things you use and you don't necessarily cite, but as a background, and they are the basis for your opinion and your outlook moving forward. Well, the week started with me hearing some things that were very disconcerting regarding the health of Landon Dickerson and what he might be able to give us in this game and or maybe the rest of the season. And that, I held back on and thought, let's wait. Something's going on there, but we don't know if it's the end of the end of his season, or if it's just something about this week, or is it something that he'll be able to overcome and the bye week will help out with, or what's it going to be? And as the week went on, including up to till today, it does feel very much like he's going to be okay to play, just probably not this Saturday.
Well, what that does, though, is it really informs the conversation about being bowl eligible and your chances to be bowl eligible.
Right. Because with him, you would like to think you could beat Wake Forest.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which puts you on the path.
And again, you see what we're doing here. We're staying out in front of these things because all of these wins, these opportunities to win games that remain, are usually quickly followed by a sobering reminder of exactly what you are, which is a middling average team in a terrible conference. And you beat Louisville, okay, 3-2. Now you lose to Miami, 3-3. You beat Wake, 4-3. Okay, now you get stomped by Clemson, 4-4. You are at a critical place at 4-4. You have now got to find a way to win 2 games against the likes of NC State, Boston College, and Florida, because you're not going to beat Notre Dame on the road. So is that doable? It is doable. It's not crazy to say you could do that. It's not likely if you're going to put
40% chance of that happening.
If you're going to put percentage chances on it, I'd say you're in a little bit of trouble still. But I'd like to have that conversation. I'd like to have something to look to hope for, to dream of.
Defense has to get way better to beat NC State on the road.
I don't like him to beat NC State.
I don't either. Quarterback play.
Their quarterback is
if
very
we're going to
good.
get beat in coverage, that kid can take advantage of that. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. But if the defense gets better and they have a better chance of making drastic improvements between now and November than the offense does, certainly.
Yes, and I do like what we've seen from Harlan Barnett. I think it's a coach who's living by a credo, and they're following that, and they don't always get everything right, but they are committed to stopping the run, and they are committing to getting tougher, and he's trying to bolster toughness within this squad. I think you're seeing a little bit more of it each week. You're seeing some hits every now and again that you go, okay, there we go, especially from some of the young guys. And, okay, I can live with that. I can watch a team grow on that side of the ball and maybe go into next year thinking, because, look, I think we're getting better and better on the interior. Every week Marvin Wilson looks like a guy that's going to be a nightmare for people.
Durden, Cooper.
Yeah, they're starting to show me a little something there. So that's all stuff that, right, you can get excited about. And that's all you're asking. I don't like sitting around feeling sorry for ourselves, but in truth, if I remove myself from the conversation and speak about Florida State fans as this separate thing from me, which that's not true, but if I do in the case of trying to be an objective observer for a second on the radio, I actually feel for Florida State fans because their season has been over in September the last few years. You'd be like, grand opening, grand closing. Thanks for playing. Waited all damn summer for this thing to get over with so we can start playing college football, and we suck again. And that's infinitely frustrating. This year, the season was over when you lose right off the bat, 2 times in 3 weeks, and you get crushed by Syracuse. Over in the sense that there was no magic in the air. You weren't going to win 10, 11 games. I mean, any thought of that was quickly evaporated with those games. But if you were in the right mindset and you accepted that there was a bit of a bigger rebuild than you realized, and you adjusted and lowered the bar, you then immediately turned your attention to remaining bowl eligible, keeping a streak alive that so many other universities have lost when in transition. We've seen the best of the best, whether it's the Notre Dames or the Nebraskas or the Oklahomas or the Miamis, any of these schools, all of them have had seasons where, historically speaking, it's catastrophic. Like, look at that. They've lost 9 games.
Yeah.
Like, those kinds of things have happened to other schools, but not us. And you start thinking about that. We're not accustomed to it. We don't deal with it well. Now, we don't have the elongated history that a Notre Dame has or a Oklahoma has or schools like that, or Penn State, Ohio State, and schools like that. But what we do have that emerged in the 80s and on through to where we are now is pretty much an annual tradition of mattering, of being in the top 25, of being a team that goes to bowls, and, obviously 3 different times of winning national championships and playing for many more. And never having, once we entered the picture, having to take a huge step back to where you go 2-10 or 4-8. That hasn't happened around here. It has to everybody else, including our rivals. And it's a point of pride. I mean, it's something we all take great pride in. I like being able to say, yeah, we've had some rough seasons during the lost decade. None of them were losing seasons, mind you, but tough seasons nonetheless. And this began to immediately look like the end of days as far as that streak goes. Staying out in front of it and winning enough games to where the conversation continues week to week is a way to stay immersed in a season that is disappointing. There's no other way to say it. It's disappointing. It's not a matter of having a referendum or great debate about whether or not Willie was the right hire or the wrong hire yet. That's an impossible conversation. One season is not going to be enough of a sample size, not with what he inherited, not in the situation we find ourselves in. But what is worthy of investing in and talking about is, can they fight through and somehow find a way, even in the midst of this transition, to get bowl eligible? Okay, I'll have that conversation, and I'll invest emotionally in that goal, all the while knowing that it's unlikely, Tom.
I'm just thankful we don't have to talk about Florida State for 3 hours every day. Like, that's not a mandate. Because if we had to the last 3 seasons and what's happened in September each of those years, that'd be brutal. At least we can be human interest about it. Talk about our experiences as fans rather than breaking down X's and O's for 3 hours a day. Good gracious. Could you imagine? That's not a mandate that's worth following through on, sir.
No, it's not, and it's never been one that we've had to do. It can be the central theme. It can be something that is a easy fallback because it is of the similar interest to the community and everything else, but it's not something we have to do. And because we like college football on the whole and professional football on the whole and Major League Baseball and other things in general.
What it means to be a Knoll more than our offensive line for, what can you do at guard for an hour? I'm thankful for that because we're not looking at a step.
What can you do at guard?
Right, or tackle, Jeez.
What can you do at tackle? Play a guard. Yeah, that's what you can do at tackle. You just play a guard.
Because hopefully we stay out in front of it like you're talking about, but back-to-back 6-loss seasons ain't exactly pretty either. They're bowl-eligible seasons, but right now that's the best-case scenario that we're hoping for here is back-to-back 6-loss seasons.
Well, I think the bigger conversation is fascinating, and it is also something that concerns you because we noted before the season began with all the changes in the state over the last 2 years that it's a critical time for all of these programs, for Miami, for Florida, for Florida State, because while the season and the play on the field is maybe not where any of the schools want it to be. Miami's the closest right now, but even for Canes fans, I think they would tell you, no, we want to be back to being a national championship contender, and they're not there yet. Doesn't look to be yet. Florida certainly isn't, and we are nowhere close. And in 2 of the 3 places, really, if you think about it, 3 of the 3, because Mark Richt hasn't been there very long, it's still a process that they're going through. They're just now building the facilities to catch up with the times and all that. It now becomes who emerges, who in this rat race for recruits comes out slightly ahead in cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, because it dictates the future. And in the midst of all of this, you're actually watching games knowing that results could influence that race. To what degree is open for debate. But we do know that if you have a season that is simply an abomination and you lose 10 games, it doesn't do much for your cause. And we also know that all three schools currently, as for the 2019 class, reside outside the top 10 in recruiting. So who amongst the three are going to find a way back into that top 10? Who's going to carry the day? Will anybody? Will it be even? We don't know. And these games have an influence on it. Maybe not as much as some fans think, but it does have an influence. And what you're worried about is it's gotten turned on its head a little bit here to start the season. Because I think we began this year with the belief, because of the way that Willie was able to close in such a short amount of time with an early signing period, and then all the while having to put together a staff, and then doing all the PR things that he did in the offseason, we thought, okay, well, at the very least, we think we got a charismatic guy that can give us an edge in recruiting to get us back to where we need to be as the race begins. Dan Mullen is failing in recruiting right now. It's not happening for them, and we don't believe that that he's going to win in the living room. That's what we were saying, right? He's kind of a used car salesman, kind of a doofus-looking guy, all the dumb pictures that he took and everything else. You think, okay, I like our chances of outdoing that guy with our pitch. Rick's going to be the problem because all the talent resides in his backyard, and he's going to try to build a wall, and he's from down there, so he can walk the walk and talk the talk. He played at the school, all that stuff. Well, then the season started, and the games happened, and what sucks is Miami's further along than I thought they were, and damn it, Florida is too. Already, you're seeing signs that the on-the-field product is better than we would have thought in year one, especially with a sorry ass like Felipe Franks. You wouldn't have guessed this. And so don't let them fool around and beat LSU, which they have a chance to do.
That's a big weekend.
That's
a
borderline pick 'em game, right?
Yeah.
And then have us get our ass beaten the same weekend by Miami because all of a sudden all that we thought we knew is wrong and that we're on the bottom of the ladder in this conversation. That's tough, man. That's a tough big picture conversation having right now. Now, the season's long and things happen in between. And who knows? Look, your really great recruiters can overcome a season in year one when you're changing the culture and changing the mindset of people. They can walk in that living room and say, see, we need you that much more. You're the guy that's going to help turn this all around. Come see me. I got immediate playing time for you. And whatever other pitch he's going to utilize, that's what he's got a chance to do. But you can't go 2-10, and you can't go. I mean, you can go 4-8, I guess, but it's not ideal.
Of course, I want to have the highest
record possible. Yeah.
Well, highest record, but also the number one recruiting class in the state of Florida. Of course, I want that. But honestly, if it's 12-15 or 10-12. Who got the better of offensive line recruits?
Well, to me, it's just
and
about
who
your
got
lineman.
their quarterback? Does Hal stick around in our class, and do we get in the trenches some blue chippers?
You mean if we lose games, does Hal stick around?
Right,
I think he looks as committed as they could be. I don't think he's going anywhere. He strikes me. I'm not a recruit, Nick. He strikes me from what I read and hear from people. Well, he's not wavering at all.
He's out in front of committing, trying to recruit other guys to us. So
that's
a great sign.
That's
and
a very good sign.
I think he's somebody who wants to play early. So
He also
the more we
knows-
struggle, the more he goes, yes, awesome.
Well, and he looks like a kid who can run this, right? So, okay, but lineman is the big thing.
But we could finish 13th and Miami 11th and Florida 10th.
We're all in the same ballpark.
But if we have more offensive linemen than they do,
well,
okay,
it's
because
just
I think we can survive at receiver and corner and whatever for the time being.
Well, and as long as somebody doesn't commit to them, like say last year's Justin Fields, who goes to Georgia, if he picks like a guy like that, chooses, then you've got a problem. But which Mr. Fields isn't getting any playing time. This place here is got a lot to offer. I'm just
put your name on that list, son. If Fromm is still their quarterback for a playoff run, well,
you're never going to see the field.
Are you willing to wait another season?
Another couple.
That's a hell of a thing, Justin.
It is. And that goes for a lot of you backup five-star offensive linemen at Bama that won't see the field for another couple of years. I mean, there's a landing spot for you right here and immediate, nearly me. I know you got to sit out, but there's some playing time right here. Good work out of you, sir. Good work, Matthew. Be well. Soccer Guys is a really good show. You should listen to it. It's up next. It'll be followed by some Braves baseball, postseason baseball. That's a good thing. Be well, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.